Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL Premier Sim Gaming Leagues for yet another round of the PC Championship. It's round 3. We're off to España, and I am back with Jack Canan. Jack, how are you, sir? Oh, Jack has just gone away. I think he's having problems with his mic at the moment, folks. We're having a little issues with the Discord server right now, but we are back anyway. Welcome to PSGL. But yeah, I've got to say, it's a sensational start to this season, this championship. Barry Burraman on top spot. 2 wins from 2. Can he make it 3 wins out of 3, folks? That is the big question. Philip Presnader snapping at his heels currently, just about 14 points behind. In behind them, you've got Alvaro Carreton for Williams as well, with 8 points in the first race, 10 points in the next, 18 points to his name, and he is fighting with Philip Presnader on joint level of points to try and catch Barry Burraman. Absolutely sensational. I can see the chat is already busy as we speak. We have got Fergus in the chat saying hashtag bless Jess Games. Hello, Jess. Hope you're keeping well. Makina 91 F1 Racing. We salute you too, sir. As well as FRA Chile, Dylan Warren as well. The Dylan Warren fans in their hot abundance here, of course, for yet another round of phenomenal racing action. We cannot wait for it. And I've got to say, I'm intrigued to see what sort of battles we will comprehend seeing around Spain. The Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, of course, 4.655 kilometers. That's 2.892 miles with 16 corners. Absolutely sensational. And of course, this track synonymous with winter testing in Formula 1, but can also provide lots of high octane action. Obviously, given the fact it's got a long straight heading into turn 1, of course, being the Elf curve out towards the penalty loop, or the penalty lap loop, should we say, that's turn 2. Round the Renault curve, down towards Repsol. That's after the banner you've got over the top, under the bridge, and you make your way around that right-hander of Repsol before you reach the seat, which you almost turn back on yourself at. Very tricky corner to get right. Obviously can cause a few predicaments among the drivers, certainly to try and get that one right, because you can be very susceptible to locking up the car, and that will send you into obscurity, of course. Obviously, looking through the rest of the circuit, you've then got Verth curve to come around. That's that dogged left-hander, and then you've got to make a sudden switch up right. It's almost like a semi-chicane of sorts. And then you've got the very synonymous Campsa corner, which you can take flat out. You do not want to go there lifting off unless you are trying to warm your tyres up. But you can jet round that corner and get yourself a good run with DRS heading down towards the Lakea bend. That real sharp left-hander, the 90-degree left-handed corner, leading you then into Sector 3 proper. And that is when you'll find your way around Bank Sabadell, which is that rising chicane heading up the left and right. Then before you reach the Europe car right-hander as well, leading down towards the final chicane into New Holland corner, and then back on the long stretch where you'll encounter DRS again. But we're looking forward to this race, folks. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Plenty of drivers on this track who are very capable of picking up a race win. And I'm just going to ask now, I'm just going to gently check. Jack Canan, are you back with us?
I'm not having the best day, but I hope so. I am struggling to actually even launch the game at the moment, so I'll do my best in the moment. But I am here with you in spirit, let's say.
Well, we can hear you loud and clear, Jack Canan, so that's a good thing, at least at the moment. So hopefully we can get things back to normal. Of course, there's anything in the world of esports and sim racing technology. Of course, it's still relatively new on the scene. And naturally, you're gonna find a few glitches here and there, but that is the nature of the beast that we're involved in right now. I've certainly been on the fair end of a few scrapes, my side as well. But we are here, alive and kicking, ready for the next round of the PSGL season. Of course, now the full quali system is going to be intriguing, but Spain, Jack, a very different prospect to what we've already seen. Of course, we've already had the first 2 rounds. Of course, we had a very wet Hungary, and not forgetting a very interesting race at Austria. Now, Spain, a very different prospect, certainly far more, I suppose, tactical racing involved at Spain. There's a little bit more to maybe adjust yourself against, because we've had Austria, relatively short track, Hungary, a little bit more technical, Monaco without walls. Spain is a little bit more of a racer's circuit, isn't it? Jack, you there? No, he's not currently with us, folks. But yes, definitely a races circuit. Hopefully Jack Cannan will be back with us alive and kicking very shortly, folks. But I want to hear your comments in the chat as well. Who do you think is going to be picking up the points here today? Can Barry Burman make it 3 from 3? That is the major question. Of course, currently looking very good up on the top spot. 2 wins out of 2 races. And I got to say, I would not write him off for a third. He is certainly just that good. And he deserves every bit of praise and credit that he gets. He has managed to cultivate some form in that Alfa Romeo, drawing battles with the likes of Jarno Opmeer. Of course, last time he had to tackle the likes of Philip Prejnader. Simon Weigang was up there as well, taking the fight to him, as well as many others as well. I've just seen as well, TRT Caesar, pole will be a 13.3. Well, that'll be interesting to see who's going to land that auspicious lap time. I'm certainly going to be waiting on tenterhooks to see if that is achievable. Just to let you guys know that obviously outside of the game sector, this circuit had allowed Valtteri Bottas here in 2020 land a 118.183. That was the race lap record here at Spain. And certainly I'd imagine we'll be seeing drivers going a lot quicker than that here on the esports circuit. But I got to say, we're looking forward to it. It's certainly going to be very interesting indeed. We're going to be waiting for the off very, very shortly. We're waiting with bated breath for the start of qualifying. Of course, like I said before, a full quali system, plenty of drama mixed into that as well. Naturally, you're going to have Q1 where the drivers will be looking to get through in the top 15. That is then quickly brought down to the top 15 or top 10, should I say, going into Q3 out of Q2. And then, of course, you know, we have the race. It'll then be decided who takes pole and, of course, who takes the back end of the P10 positions. Lots to talk about, loads to look at, but we have some new additions as well, so it might be a good time to go through those. Carl Mitchell, who is currently the full-time driver for AlphaTauri, he is replaced by Domenico Lavecce. We've got Andy there replacing Alvaro Caraton in the Williams. So Alvaro Caraton will not be winning points for Williams today. Tino Nakarunen being replaced by Chana Kinchi, who I had the pleasure of racing with recently. I got to say, a very, very good driver, great racer, great human being as well. Floris Viers is being replaced by CRG Mattis as well. Mattis van Erven, the Sauber Esports graduate, or the driver, the rookie that they're bringing into the fold. And of course, Danny Moreno being replaced by Jorge Alberola, and we'll look forward to seeing how he gets on as well. Certainly lots to be looked forward to today, folks. Lots of new drivers to bring to the table. Jack Cannan, are you back with us?
I am in the game and ready to go at last.
Yes.
This is obviously a sign of good things to come. As I need something to cheer me up a bit. So let's have a good race at Spain.
Well, I would hope that we will have one, Jack. I would hope we will have one because I got to say, despite a few absences, we have got some very capable replacements here today at Spain. Of course, we're seeing Domenico Lavecce back. Andy's back in. Chana Kinchi, who I've got to say is a very interesting prospect here at PSGL here today. And like I said before in the chat as well, Jack, Spain, a very, very good racing circuit as opposed to the Monaco without walls and the very quick Austrian circuit that we saw at the start of the season.
Yeah, there's plenty more opportunities here for overtaking. You've got a much longer straight down the front stretch. And of course, the hard braking zone into sector number 3. So there's plenty more places to overtake. And but definitely turn 1 into turn 2, turn 3, that's all around that area is your major overtaking opportunity. Sector 2, not really too much there, but that front straight into turn 1 and turn 2 is going to be the action zone for today, but we have to get through full qualifying first.
Absolutely. Q1 very nearly underway. Folks, we're just sitting tight. You can hear the crowd in the distance. As soon as the car's loaded up and our data screens are loaded up, we'll be right back, certainly on the track, watching the coverage from qualifying. Any predictions from yourself, Jack, based on what we saw last week? Because I got to say, some very interesting performances. Barry Burman at the moment seems to be reigning dominance here in PSGL. Currently looking and sitting pretty on top spot in the championship. 16 points in his first race, 16 points in his second race. Can we expect 16 points here at Spain?
Yes. Simple as. With Barry Burman, I mean, the guy has not been slower than pole in every single session in the qualifying so far. So he's yet to be beaten at all both on pace and in the race. So it's really something to see how he's able to do that and keep it so consistent the whole way through. But Simon Weigang nearly had him last week, so I'll keep an eye out for Simon.
I would too. I've got to say, he has certainly shown a lot of promise to Simon Weigang. Really starting to see that form that we are used to seeing from the German. I've got to say, I'm sitting down here and I'm looking at the prospects we have here on track tonight. Certainly, despite the absences, plenty of capable drivers looking to make their way out onto the circuit. I've got to say, I am so looking forward to qualifying. We're just going to jump over to the track now, folks. I can already see the comments lighting up on the broadcast as we now witness what looks to be a Renault jumping off the circuit. But there's the Williams anyway, nonetheless, making its way through. Looking a bit ginger there. The Renault. I have to say, that could either be, I think that is actually Fabrizio Donoso Delgado venturing on the intermediate tyres, Jack.
Good lord. How on earth he's keeping this in a straight line is unbelievable. It's almost like they're quite for fun for a drifting contest. Look at Donoso absolutely flinging it around on the intermediate tyres. And yeah, this is a perfect demonstration of car control. Look at that. Beautiful from the Chilean around here. I'm a big fan of rallycross. It's kind of my favorite sport. And this I really like to see. Flinging it around on dry tyres on a really hot track, and Donoso displaying some really good car control there. That was great to watch.
Absolutely splendid indeed. And the Renault is now making its way into the pit lane. We got a comment here from Vatefield, Dylan Warren. Pole or we riot, Jack? Pole or we riot? Dylan Warren, a fan favourite.
Yeah, he does have a cult following, doesn't he, Dylan Warren? And I think he is definitely one for the future for F1 Esports. The fact that he's competing so well at such a high level at such a young age. So he's definitely one to watch, and he has the fans behind him. So let's see if he can deliver a pole position, because if not, there's going to be riots on the streets of Barcelona tonight. But we'll wait and see. But as you can see, if you are wondering why you're seeing so many drivers out on the intermediates for their first run, it's simply to save a set of tires. It is a tactic that we see a lot in F1 Esports and the whole way around, to put on the set of the intermediates, which saves you a set of dry tires, which is very, very crucial. It saves you a set of soft tires that you don't have to use and run them in. So it keeps you with a fresh set for the race, which can mean a lot, especially in a grid this competitive.
It certainly does. And there's Domenico Levecce in the AlphaTauri making his way through that very, very tricky section. That Wirth curve can be so dangerous, especially on the intermediates, because they're so slick, very easy to lose grip at that sector. He's making his way now down towards the next left-hander, of course, this being the Lakea bend, and you're almost turning back on yourself, and then heading up through the next chicane, of course, this being turn 11 into now turn 12, which is the back Sambadell corner, and there you can see the crowd there littered on the stands there, watching these cars come through Sector 3, and intriguing to see how these guys are managing the grip on these tyres. Levecce comes through now, and as you can see, these tyres do not suit that final chicane, Jack, because you can really lose it. If you lock the brakes up, it can really, really land you in hot water. So I bet these drivers are going to be hoping there's no rain for this race.
Yeah, because those intermediates are going to be absolutely fried after a lap. There's Preschnader to the top of the standings, 127.0 now. Remember, he is on the completely the incorrect tire for the current conditions. But it's nice to watch them having a little bit of fun at the start before we get down to the nitty gritty, and we will see basically everybody's out on the inters at the moment, including Dylan Warren, Taman Schutte, who is out, of course, in the McLaren today as well. And we, of course, wait for the rest to switch onto the soft tire. We're going to be waiting a little while longer for that. But currently, provisionally, it's Philip Preschnader, the fastest man on the track at the moment on those intermediate tires on the dry track. So he's practicing some car control there. It is a kind of good practice for driving intermediates in storm conditions almost right here. So it is it's good to watch, and it shows that they do have some skill challenging some rallycross. Of course, remember there is a rallycross track around here in Barcelona, and it's actually right where Philip Preschnader is going through right now. Right up here, it curves off to the right hand side, just between those tire barriers. And loops back, and so it actually comes backwards around the corner that Philip Preschnader is going around right now. And it's a fantastic circuit. The Joker lap is actually halfway between the chicane right here that Preschnader is going through, and the halfway between that and the corner that the Preschnader just came out of. So there is a rallycross heritage here, and they are certainly channeling it with these drifting sessions that we're watching right now.
No, absolutely. I wanted to say as well, as we know, Siate Kaupanen crossed the line to commence his fast lap again on the set of intermediate tyres. I was looking at the lap data for real life F1, Jack, and also compared it to the superbikes that they have racing around. And I've got to say, the difference is absolutely phenomenal. A mighty 22 seconds separating the difference between a motorbike or a superbike making its way around this Spanish circuit and the Formula 1 cars. The Formula 1 cars being the pacier, because I measured it against Valtteri Bottas's lap record in 2020 of 118.183. Just goes to show how severely quick these F1 cars really are.
Yeah, and we consider that the superbikes are just as quick as an F1 car down the straight line. It is impressive. I'm just on board with Ate Kauppinen right now. Oh, there he goes, loops it around on the intermediate tyres. He was flinging it around, and the Finns are well known for their Scandinavian flicks, but got that a little bit wrong. I think he was just a little bit too aggressive on the entry there, but they're enjoying the first runs, at least on these inters. But Ate Kauppinen, he's missing his Finnish teammate at the moment in Tino Nakarinen. So he got somebody new alongside him in Can Kinci, the Turkish driver, who joins the grid in the Red Bull. But I think now everybody back in the pit lane. Ate Kauppinen is the only man left out on the circuit. You can see him here. He's just flinging it through the rallycross track here. And everybody in the pit lane now. So waiting till the very, very last moment. So Kauppinen, is he going to come in? Are we going to have absolutely nobody on track right now? It seems to me, yes, we are. We have a completely empty track, and that's actually quite rare in F1 esports. And yeah, nobody out on track. No,
very quiet indeed. And you can see that Red Bull are going to be calling their car in. Ate Kauppinen will be coming straight in now into the Red Bull garage. There he goes. And the pit crew there just wheeling him in. So very shortly we'll start to see, I'm sure, a huge abundance of cars making their way out to commence their hot laps. Just have a look at some of the comments in the chat. Alariza Sabar, apologies if I got that wrong. Superbikes don't even do the chicane in Sector 3. Again, I would say that's a larger statement to make about the standards of the Formula 1 cars. The fact that they cut out the chicane for superbikes, Jack, makes it even more intriguing, because F1 cars still have a chicane to deal with. That just makes it even more crazy, doesn't it? That's insane.
Yeah, the MotoGP, they take the old track. So if you remember after the braking zone in Sector 2, they take the long left-hander. And then when you get to the last chicane where we go right in the F1 cars, the MotoGP bikes would go straight on and flat out around the last corner. So these cars are really, really a piece of engineering, really. And I believe they changed it once or twice in the MotoGP, where they had to take a version of the last chicane. But even so, these cars are just unbelievable. They're blindingly fast. That's the thing. And I think we'll miss them when they're gone, these cars, because they're really probably some of the greatest cars that actually were made in the F1. I mean, they're just brilliant cars, and even though they got rid of the aero on the front wings, they still managed to somehow make them quicker, which is a testament to F1 engineering at the moment. But now, George, we're getting into the business end. Everyone out is on soft tires, and Domenico Lavecce is the first man who's going to be going around this track at full tilt.
He is indeed, and he's just making his way around the chicane now. Here he is, riding on board with Domenico Lavecce as he now makes his way around the final corner. No Jarno Watmere here today. I see a couple of comments in the chat relating to his whereabouts, and that is merely due to the fact that he is taking part in the virtual Formula E, as we now witness Domenico Lavecce making his way through towards the Elf curve. Now through the next left, that being the straight snap from Elf, going around the penalty lap loop. Now he's making his way around the Renault curve. And as you can see, they always seem to take the narrow line, of course. The fastest entrance heading into Repsol, which is the one he's taking now, turn 4. And very shortly making his way down towards the seat curve. Now, once again, lock up on the left-hand side. You've got to be very careful with that, because naturally, it's a very awkward corner going around the seat, and you can lose it and head into the gravel trap. He's now making his way around Verth. That long climb upwards, heading round towards Campsa corner. This one you can take absolutely flat out if you take enough of the inside curb. Coming down towards the final, well, this next left-hander, this real stiff left, the Lakea bend. As you can see, Lavecce has gone quicker in Sector 2. Purple there, now green. It looks like we've got a quicker time in behind, but we'll watch Lavecce anyway, making his way around back Sambadel into Europe car. This very, very stiff 90-degree right-hander into the chicane as well. Once again, a little lock-up as he makes his way through, but he's okay. Makes his way around the New Holland curve now. The DRS will light up here on the home stretch. Domenico Levecce will land himself a 1:20, what was that, a 1:14.133. But it's Calvin Klein who manages to take top spot, an excellent lap, and goes 0.01 seconds faster than Domenico Levecce, Jack.
I believe actually, sure, that's 0.001. Then, well, Barry Borman says, I'll have that one, boys. 113.7 for Barry Borman and goes much faster than everybody else in that first run. Still plenty to come, though. Donoso begins a lap. Ate Kauppanen is out on a lap as well. He's coming through the last corner right now. Let's see what the Flying Finn can do as he heads around the last corner. DRS open now. Matthias van Erven into fourth. And there goes Ate Kauppanen. Great lap. 13.9 for the Finn in the background, and you can see now Nicholas Matteo across the line, 14.0 for him, and there's Timon into second on 13.9 as well, but Josh Idawu out of nowhere, P1 for the Welshman.
Sensational, Jack. The Welshman, the Red Dragon, breathing fire here in España with a phenomenal lap time of 1:13.700. And he knocks the McLarens in Ps 1 and 3. Thaman Shoot making his way into P3 as well, subbing in today as well for the McLaren team. And I gotta say, he's doing it in cracking style once again. Dylan Warren as well. The youngster never fails to amaze us. 14 years of age and in P4 for Racing Point. Never fails to amaze the crowds here at PSGL. What a sensational lap. Laps already being littered on the timing screens, Jack. And yet, a sign of maybe even more, well, even better things to come, I think.
Yeah, let's see what Preschnader does. He goes to third, 13.79, and slots in behind Barry Borman. It's very, very close at the top. There's less than a tenth between our top three, but Preschnader consistently impressive throughout this championship. Next man, I think, is going to be Fabrizio, and Donoso has backed out. Lewis Welch is the man who's out on a lap at the moment as well. Let's see what he can do. And Ruben Vallejo in 19th place. Home Grand Prix for him. George will want to perform.
He will indeed, and naturally, this is the time for certainly Ruben Vallejo to really sort of lay a foundation on this grid order. Here's Donoso making his way around the next right-hander, of course, representing the Renault team, as he does in F1 Esports, down towards the Lakea bend, and just easing his car around this next left-hander. Of course, Fabrizio, the very fast Chilean, who, remember, was in the grand final in the first F1 Esports Pro Series, and sort of tried to lay a hammer down upon Brendan Lee, but just could not manage to snatch it at the death. But can he make a difference now as he makes his way through the next chicane, now round the final corner, New Holland, but he bails. And as we see that, of course, Louis Welch getting himself into P10, approximately just over 0.4 of a second slower than Josh Idawu. But nonetheless, the ones that are in danger, Tom Martinez, Arbeloa, Donoso, Vallejo, and of course, I think that man at the very back, I'll just have to double check my factual notes. That's a Renault car, I believe, at the back there. Jack, can you identify who that is?
I believe it's Fabrizio Donoso, who's the man who's in danger at the back in 18th place. So he is on the cusp now. Julian Naumann is currently the man who's just in right now. Tom 97 is only 0.2 off of that. I know he's got more pace in there, does Tom Martinez. Josh Idawu, he's perfectly happy where he is at the top. And let's see, is this finally the time? Yes, it is finally the time. The 100% record is broken, George. Barry Borman has retired. That means we will have somebody new at the top step of Q1 for the first time this season.
Well, he wasn't far away, was he, Jack? It was literally 0.030, pretty much. And Philip Preschnader is retired as well. Naturally, we'll start to see, I think the Renault cars are going to need to get busy here. And you can see them leaving the garage now. It's going to be extremely interesting to see how they fare in this one. Because naturally, the hammer's going to come down on this qualifying event very, very shortly. So a lot of pressure here on Renault to deliver here right now. There goes the two AlphaTauri cars. So let's see what they can bring to the table. And once again, we're also seeing Ruben Vallejo making his way around the track. The Spaniard looking to do the business here at his home GP. And hasn't had the easiest run of form recently, Jack. It hasn't really gone his way. And he had a disqualification, I believe, last time out. And in fact, picked up no points in race 1. So he has a huge point to prove here today. Yeah,
he does. And he was really disappointed in himself from last week, of course, with the disqualification. for too many penalties. But he'll be wanting to we know how quick Ruben is, so he'll be looking to get back on form here. And what better place to do it than at your home Grand Prix? But he's only got one more attempt, really, to try and go for it. All he needs to do, though, is get himself inside the top 15. So if he can do that, then he will be safe. But that being said, that's not going to be easy because 0.2 of a second separates those 15 drivers at the moment. So Ruben Vallejo for Racing Point, he is going to be trying to get through, but he's also a man who needs to get out as well. And it would be a surprise loss in Q1. It's Fabrizio Donoso, George.
It will be a very surprise exit. He's out and out lap, so I'm sure very soon we'll see the Chilean out on there, laying down the hammer on a fast lap time. But there's Vallejo making his way around the first couple of corners. You just saw the lock up there as he entered Elf Curve. But he's making his way around the Renault Curve now. Just manages to get past that Mercedes, who just got in his way slightly there. And as he makes his way around the next right-hander, that being Repsol, now down towards the seat. And again, you see the lockup. So that just goes to show how hard these drivers are really pushing, Jack. This circuit of Spain, ever so tricky. I mean, I would say the straight lines are quite deceiving because it's never as easy as what it's made out to be.
No, it certainly isn't. And we know that the track limits as well can be very, very brutal, especially in this corner that Fabrizio Donoso is going through right now. That right-hand curb, if you extend too much there, instant lap invalidation. As Donoso, has he invalidated? I believe he has, George. So Donoso is not going to make it.
Donoso out of Q1, folks. That is a big hammer blow to Renault already in this qualifying session, Q1. And there's going to be no Fabrizio Donoso entering Q2. But here comes Ruben Vallejo, here in hand, looking to draw the hammer blow here. P14, he gets into safety just by the skin of his teeth. And yet I say it, just under half a second. It's unbelievable that we're even talking about safety with half a second lap times, Jack. But near enough. P14 for Ruben Vallejo. Phenomenal lap time.
I think he could be displaced if Tom Martinez keeps his lap together. He's 0.2 of a second up on his best, and that will be enough to get him in. So here we go. Can he knock out Ruben Vallejo out of his home Grand Prix here? Through the last sector for him. Simon Weigang into third place. Great lap from the German in the Haas. Matthias van Erven into fifth as well for Haas as well, right behind Andy into fifth. Here comes Tom Martinez. Can he get in into Q2? Yes, he can. Into P10. And that knocks Domenico Levecce into 16th. And he is currently on a lap as well. But the man in danger, George, at the moment is actually Louis Welch.
Yeah, Louis Welch in danger. Who'd have thought we'd be saying that? And also, just look at the drivers out on track. Ate Kauppinen also out, but he's invalidated as well. But he won't have a lot to worry about. There's still a lot of people in further danger than he is right now. Chana Kinchi out on a lap as well. Still plenty of cars out on circuit here in the squeaky bum time sector of Q1 indeed. And he's gone quicker than his previous lap time, approximately around about a quarter of a tenth quicker, heading around that corner now, heading around the next left. Chana Kinchi looking to do the business here, a very pacey driver on his day, and he's going to be hoping the Red Bull can give him wings here this time. But as we now see, as Donoso out of this world from Donoso up into P7, Jack, he's made it.
He has. He just made it across the line to get a final lap in, but Donoso is in, and we are now going to lose. I believe Calvin Klein is out, Domenico Levecce is out, Ruben Vallejo is out, and Jorge Alberola is out. So Julian Naumann scrapes in by the margin of 28 or 200ths of a second, but that gap between P2 down to the P5 is super close. That is less than half a tenth between those guys, but Josh Idowu is the man on top.
Oh, unbelievable. I got to say, the Welshman has been improving no end, doing McLaren the absolute justice at this moment in time. We talk about them improving year on year. The esports program has been working sensationally. Josh Idowu has been working really hard. He's been battling with the best of them, the likes of Jarno Watmir, Barry Burremand, and he trumps Burremand here at Spain in Q1, ending the 100% qualifying record from Barry Burremand here today. It is going to be Idowu top in the billing. Let's go through the running order. Josh Idawu P1 at 113.699. Sensational by the skin of his teeth, beating Barry Burraman in P2. Tremendous stuff here. Simon Vigang P3, Lucas UK, Louis Welch scraped into P4, Jack. Amazing. Philip Prejnator P5, Andy P6, Donoso P7, Matthias Van Urban P8, Thyman Shoot in P9, Dylan Warren P10, great quality from him, Mate Kauperden P11, Chana Kinchi P12, Tom 97 P13, Nicholas Mateo P14, Nauman in P6, in P15, Calvin Klein, Leveche, Vallejo, Alberola, all out in Q1. But what a story. Donoso, it was Donoso, Jack, and Louis Welch. They did it at the death. Unreal.
Certainly did. 4/10 between the entire field, ladies and gentlemen, in Q1. And we've yet to have the pole position battle. So Q2 is the crucial one. Of course, top 10 go through, but this is about what tyre you want to start on. Which tyre do you opt for? Do you opt for the softs? Do you opt for the mediums to start? If you're able to get inside the top 10 on the medium tyre, it is going to be a massive, massive advantage. So we're going to see if anybody can do that. But it will be a tough ask with a field this quick. So we have our 15 drivers here, and let's see who is going to take this. But we have 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, 2 Haas's, and both Red Bulls and both Williams have made it through as well. So, and of course, the teammates of Alfa Romeo. So there's plenty of teammates that have made it through, and just one singular racing point, one singular AlphaTauri, and one singular Renault that have made it in. And the first man out on track is the German Julian Naumann, followed closely by Philip Prejnator, who has been impressive as well. He tried the alternate strategy in Hungary, tried an extra stop, didn't work out for him. But he's looking very, very quick. He's actually impressively quick and has put in a great performance. Got podium, of course, in the first round. But the strategy call that he made in Hungary didn't quite work out for him. But we know that he is super competitive and super good on his day.
Oh, absolutely. And without a doubt, we got a class grid here at PSGL. It never ceases to amaze the public here. And I've got to say, the viewers at home, I bet you're enjoying this. Look at who we've got here. Donoso out on track. Louis Welch. We got Nicholas Mateo. All 3 of them now warming up on the soft tyres, looking to nail themselves a very good early start here in Q2. And I cannot wait to see what we have in store leading into Q3. This is when things start to get a little bit testing as we now head into Q3. Of course, only the top 10 can make it through. And across this entirety of this quality grid, it is going to be unbelievable. Lots of up-and-comers here that take part in Challenger Series. Lots of them signed to esports teams on academy deals. It's going to be absolutely amazing to see who is going to be applying the punch here in Q2. Jack, any predictions from yourself?
Well, I did not expect Josh Idawu to go to the top again, so I could not call pole because it was less than a 10 between the top 5, so it would be a hard one to call to see who's going to take pole here, but we have to just wait and see. We have to wait another few more sessions. We have to get through Q2 first, but I wonder who is going to get knocked out, because even if you get knocked out, I mean, the grid is so competitive, I don't think you can actually take it too harsh, because the top 10 here are probably the fastest on the platform, and it's of course unfortunate we don't have Jarno and Danny in tonight. Of course, we have Danny Moreno, who's normally in the Mercedes, but he's practicing for the virtual GP, of course, and Jarno Otmir is of course involved in the Formula E Accelerate Championship as well, so he's been focusing on that. So they will be back at some point, but of course Danny is in for the virtual GP, and we hope to see him on the grid in a future round. It would have been nice to have Danny on the grid for the home race, though, because remember him in the wet in Hungary, George. The first couple of corners were the most spectacular driving I've seen on this game all year.
I think probably the most fascinating and unbelievable start we've seen in league racing to date. I mean, the way he jumps so many places. We now see Nicholas Mateo looking to draw first blood here in Q2. Makes his way around the final corner and about to cross the line. Here comes Nicholas Mateo. Donoso, in fact, struck first blood with a 1:14.962. Nearly 3 tenths back, nearly 2.5 tenths back. Nicholas Mateo in P2. Still a very respectable lap time, but I'm sure we'll see more from young Nicholas Mateo, a very, very good up-and-comer as well. But Donoso draws first blood, but here comes Louis Welch. A 1:14.638, Jack. Incredible.
Yeah, again, I think these are just these aren't push laps from the guys, because remember we had quicker lap times in the previous session, so they're just taking it easy on the tires in the first part. But it is Louis Welch with the first one, and Nicholas Mateo, of course, again, it's his home race as well. We can't forget that the Spaniard. and he's going to want to perform today for Williams. Now, anybody out on the mediums, I've seen a few cars in pit lane ready to come out on mediums. A couple of them being Barry Burman, Chana Kinshi, Josh Idawu, Timon Schutte, and Philip Preschneider are currently sitting in the pit lane on mediums. Haven't come out yet, but I'm sure they're going to give it a go, at least a try on it. But the lap times at the start of this session are not full pace push laps. They're just making sure that the tires are brought in. And see, the sad thing is, George, their kind of trundle laps are about 2-3 seconds quicker than my push laps.
I'm sure. What are you trying to say there, Jack? That you're not fast enough on this game? Surely not. Bear in mind, you're my teammate on the odd occasion.
Yeah, that's true. We are quite competitive, but we are much slower than these guys. So, this is something I actually forgot to point out as well. We're going to be keeping an eye out on this, and I'm sure the stewards will be watching as well. But drivers briefing, of course, before every round. The pit entry, we got to keep an eye on that because the drivers have been told that they have to keep to the right-hand side of the bollard on the pit entry. If you do not do that, you will be given a penalty. And when you're pushing out of that chicane, it's very difficult to just slow it down and pull to the right-hand side of that bollard. So if we see that bollard go flying, somebody's going to be in trouble in the race. Could
well be, and you got to be very careful, certainly around that last sector, because it can be very hazardous. Lots to really look out for here at Spain. It can certainly land you in a lot of trouble, as we now see Julian Naumann making his way out after he invalidated his last attempt. And certainly looking for retribution here is the AlphaTauri as it makes its way underneath the next banner, the Pirelli banner. Round the next right-hander, this of course being Repsol Curve. And I've got to say, Jack, I'm really enjoying this full qualifying system because it does put you on tenterhooks, doesn't it? I've got to say, in comparison to previous league renditions that we've commentated on, where we've done a short quali system, it doesn't half mix up the grid, does it? It certainly puts drivers on edge, I think, because nobody's safe, are they?
No, that's the beauty of these grids, is that no one is safe. If you do not get a good lap together, you are going to be out, and it's simple as that. So, and of course, we see a lot of guys in short qualifying, purposely qualifying around 11th, 12th, but there's not really the same kind of feel around this. Everyone wants to make it into Q3, and you've got to think about saving the tires. We have always those funny incidents with guys coming out on intermediates to save tires, but that's all strategy, and we'd love to see it. That's the thing.
Absolutely, and that is exactly what these drivers are going to be tested for. It is going to be their strategy, as we now see Julian Naumann round in the final corner now over the start-finish line, commencing his fast lap. And he's going to be making his way down towards turn 1, of course. This being the Elf Curve, breaking in between, well, nearly hitting the 50, in fact. Making his way, should I say, around the penalty lap loop. Round turn 3, the Renault Curve. And as he makes his way down the stretch under the Pirelli banner now, notice he was hugging the inside line. Now on the outside, heading in to what will be Repsol Curve. And now he'll have the seat to take now as well, turn 5. And he goes quickest in Sector 1, Jack. Purple Sector 1 for Julian Naumann.
Yeah, so this is where the pushing is beginning. Simon Weigangs began his lap as well. A couple of guys out on the medium compound tyre as well. We have Donoso out on mediums. Louis Welch out on mediums as well. Josh Idawu is out on soft compound tyres. Dylan Warren out on medium tyres. So a couple of guys are going to try their best to try and get inside the top 10 on the mediums, because it is a big advantage. But sticking with Julian Naumann, he's going to be the first man to cross the line to set a representative lap time. Purple in Sector 1, green in the middle sector. He might get a little bit impeded here by Tom 97, but Tom gets well out of the way there. Well spotted. And now on the power for Julian Naumann for the German round the last corner. DRS activation coming up now and comes to the line. What's it going to be for him? It's going to be at 14.2, and that is the first representative time that we've seen all night. But remember, the fastest time in Q1 was a 13.7.
Absolutely. So we can expect certainly faster lap times here. But Julian Naumann, once again, hammering home at the top spot, of course. And I've got to say, he'll be looking for a change in his fortunes as well, as he now avoids Tom 97, who's about to make his way around on his fast lap. And there he is now, Tom 97. Of course, certainly reeling with pride after his victory in episode 1 of Veloce Squad Sprint. And he himself beat a lot of very competitive drivers, that of course being on the Assetto Corsa game indeed. But certainly, your attributes as a racer are pretty cross-compatible, Jack.
Yeah, certainly is. Tom came out on top against the guys like Simon Weigang, Jarno Ottmeier, Danny Moreno. So all the guys that are currently on this grid, he's beaten on different platforms. So these guys are quick across many different sim racing platforms. But let's see if Tom 97, he should be able to get in to the top 10 on these medium tires because nobody else has actually set a time yet. So let's see where he is in comparison to the others, because have Louis Welch on a 14.3 and Fabrizio Donoso on a 14.4. Here comes Tom Martinez, and he goes 14.6 on the medium tires, and that is currently third fastest of the medium runners. Currently, it is Louis Welch at the top on the mediums on a 14.3, and that is super impressive, George. It's only a tenth of a second off Julian Naumann on a completely different compounded tire.
I was just about to say, Julian Naumann's time set on the softs, and yet very close was Tom Martinez indeed. Approximately near enough 0.4 of a second the difference. So he really pulled in every bit of pace out of those mediums. That is intriguing to see. And you've got to fancy Tom Martinez. His sim racing, for someone who actually focuses as life as a content creator, comes out and feels so comfortable behind the wheel. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, Jack.
Yeah, he certainly does. But Dylan Warren fans rejoice. There he is, 14.459, only 6,000 slower than Fabrizio Donoso. That is not a bad effort.
Not bad at all, and in fact trumps Martinez's time. So even more impressive from the youngster Dylan Warren. He never fails to amaze, I've got to say, and he has his followers for a reason. And certainly the youngster, 14 years of age, as I said previously, and he's in P4 here in Q2 at the Spanish Grand Prix. So credit to the youngster Dylan Warren. I'm sure that we'll see plenty more magic. And if anything, given the absences we've got, Dylan Warren's chances of a potential podium greatly heightened today, Jack, I would say.
Certainly is. I think basically everybody's nearly out on mediums now, so we're not going to quite have that battle that we kind of would have wanted to see between the soft and the mediums. But currently, Matthias van Erven, Nicholas Matteo, and Julian Naumann currently have the times on the soft. And I think I've just seen Timon Schutter go into P3 on the mediums, and that is a 2,000th. Faster than Donoso, so there's less than 100th of a second between third, fourth, and fifth on the same compound of tire around this long lap. But it is Timon Schutter who slots into third place ahead of Donoso now.
Yeah, and this is going to cause a big divide throughout the grid, because you can imagine, can't you, that naturally as Chanakinchi comes across the line into P5 as well, that we're going to be...
My lord.
Well,
look at the gaps, George. I'm sorry to cut across you, but look at that. That's less than 100th between 4 drivers.
I know, literally minimal, Jack. Absolutely minimal. Separating all of them between the realms of... as you could bring Simon Shute into this, P3 right through to P6. Literally minimal. And Donoso is out on an out lap as well. But just look how close they are to Julian Naumann's time, who was set on the soft tyres. And as I was about to say, certainly it's going to create a divide in this classification, because naturally you're going to find a lot of drivers now in the back end of the classifications as Matteo goes into P8 that are going to be jumping out on the softs to look to get into Q3 here. Many of them will feel just as comfortable starting on the mediums, maybe in the lower 10s.
Yeah, it seems to me now Dylan Warren's actually improving. He's up by 400, so if he can keep it clear through this last sector, he should pop into third here if he keeps it together. Here comes Dylan Warren then to the line. DRS open. Has he done enough? Yes, P2 for Dylan Warren, and goes faster than Louis Welch and only a couple of hundred slower than Julian Naumann. That is a great lap, great last sector for him, and he's currently P2. But now the fun time begins, because we have guys, George, like Simon Weigang currently out of Q3, and Barry Burman, who hasn't done a lap yet. He's coming through the last sector now. Has he done enough to get himself through? Josh Idaho is leaving to the last minute. Preschner is leaving it to the last minute. If they screw their laps up, they are not going to make it. And Barry Burman to the top on a 14.0.
Yes, he trumps Julian Naumann on the medium tyres, a 14.022. The Iranian, the fast Iranian, does it again. P1. He may have lost the Q1 battle certainly to that earlier on, but he has managed to pull it out the bag here in Q2 on medium tyres, 0.2 faster than Julian Naumann, who was on softs. An incredible lap by Barry Burman, Jack.
Excellent stuff. Now, watch for Josh Idaho. He's the next man to do it. Simon Weigang has had to back out of his lap because he got a massive amount of oversteer through turn 2. So he's going to have to go again on this set of tyres. So we come through now with Josh Idaho, but I keep mentioning Dylan Warren, but he's only 2/10 off of Barry Burman. That just shows you that is incredibly quick from the 14-year-old. But let's watch Josh Idaho now. He was the fastest man in Q1. Can he displace Barry Burman here? Can he get into the 13s on a set of mediums? Here we go through the last corner for Josh Idaho. It's got to be all or nothing now across the line, and he can't quite do it. 1/10 of a second off, but he is into P2, and that is a really, really good effort from him. But now it's danger time for Simon Weigang and for Philip Preschnader, who are on the bubble, are in danger of not making it.
They are indeed, and there's Preschnader making his way up through the last stages of Sector 3 very, very shortly. The Ferrari looking to get itself into the top 10. No Ferrari in the top 10 at the moment. Martinez down in P13. Preschnader not yet to set a time, but here he comes nonetheless. He's in the midst of a little bit of traffic as he comes up now towards the line. Here comes Preschnader, and he's going to get himself up into P7. He's in the top 10. Q3 bound is Philip Preschnader, and he will do battle with the likes of Donoso, Barroman, Idaho, Julian Nauman as well, but Donoso into P4 as well, goes ahead of Dylan Warren by the finest of margins after going purple in Sector 2. Incredible stuff from the Chilean, Jack.
Yeah, great lap for him. So we're going to be saying goodbye to Matthias van Erven, Ate Kaupinen. Tom 97 is currently on a push lap, so it's not over yet, but Simon Weigang, this is a crucial lap for him. He's got to make it sure that he gets it to the end and gets inside the top 10. He's going to have to displace Chana Kinshi, who's the man on the bubble at the moment. So through the last couple of corners for Simon Weigang here, chucks it into the chicane. You can see one of the Williams taking to the old track to keep himself well out of the way. Through the chicane for Simon Weigang, through the last corner now for the German. Has he done enough to make it into Q3 across the line? And yes, he has. P5, it's enough to get him through, and he displaces Chana Kinshi. So we say goodbye to him, to Ate Kaupinen, to Nicholas Matteo, to Matthias van Erven, and to Tom 97, who does not make it. Timon Schutte making it in by 0.06 of a second.
Just incidentally, Jack, I'm going to stop you there. Louis Welch actually went purple in Sectors 1 and 2 on the soft tyres, but has made a little error, I think, in Sector 3, and therefore has had to bail into the pit lane. So Louis Welch, devastating not to get that real quick lap on the board, but he's in P7 anyway, so he will get through. But a real blow, certainly to his prospects, as we now witness Philip Preschnader on his cooldown lap, making his way around Sector, I believe this to be Sector 3 now as well, heading around back Sambadel. But nonetheless, that looks to be all she wrote. Ate Kaupinen, I believe, still out on track. I don't think there's any cards remaining as Donoso crosses the line. He remains in P4, of course. There's Weigang after an incredible effort up to P5, of course. And the track looks immensely quiet now as we now begin to wrap things up. And very shortly, we will be heading into Q3. And that'll be crunch time when we start to see certainly the times being flitted through. That is the end of the session, Jack. But I got to say, an incredible session indeed. And so the lap times were just sensational, weren't they?
Yeah, they certainly were, and everyone's going to be starting on medium tyres, apart from Julian Nauman in that top 10. The rest will be getting free tyre choice. So we say goodbye to Chana Kinshi, Ate Kaupinen, Nicholas Matteo, Matthias van Erven, and Tom Martinez. But they all missed out by less than 1/10 of a second. So it is incredibly close once again. But Barry Burman, fastest in Q2. And now it's him versus Josh Idaho to try and take that pole position. Or can somebody else bring a surprise? We will wait and see. But this is going to be a very hard-fought pole position. But we have to keep an eye out for Julian Nauman off that start. He's going to be on the soft tires. He's going to be the quickest off the line. So he could maybe try something.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's been absolutely sensational, folks. We've enjoyed every minute of this. Q2 certainly did not disappoint. Once again, we're seeing more and more drama here at the Spanish GP. Of course, the first one I'm doing at PSGL. Of course, I've had very enjoyable experiences of the Spanish Grand Prix in previous leagues as well before. It certainly has been the races circuit. I've enjoyed it immensely, and I'm enjoying it right now. I want to hear your comments in the live chat, and I can see there's lots of positives about the graphics we have on display, of course, the new system that have been brought out. Special thank you, of course, to the WCP series, Akis Fodi, as well as Gary Swallow. We're able to provide you with these graphics here at PSGL, and it's a pleasure to bring them to you as well. And I'd also like to thank you as well, myself and Jack would like to thank you for all your dedicated support since the start of us taking over at PSGL on the PC side of things. It's been a real pleasure, and I hope you're going to enjoy it for many, many weeks and months and maybe years to come. Fingers crossed. But I'd like to say a big shout out to all the supporters of Dylan Warren as well. There's loads of them in the chat. Reams of comments about Dylan Warren, Jack. Certainly a fan favourite in my book.
Yeah, it certainly is, and probably will be for a long while to come in PSGL. A cult hero, you could almost
Cult
say.
hero, Jack. Cult hero.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, Dylan Warren has got the PSGL family behind him. So we'll see how he gets on. He's into Q3, so he's on course to start in the top 10 anyways. But it was impressive because he was only 2/10 off of Barry Burman, and only being 2/10 off a man that quick is very, very impressive. So we'll wait and see what he can do. But Louis Welch, as he mentioned, he was trying for a soft run, obviously invalidated, but he is also quick, very, very quick indeed. So we'll wait and see what he can do.
Absolutely.
But Donoso always pulls one out of the bag, so let's not discount Donoso.
No, you can never discount the Chilean. And we're now seeing Barry Burman come across the line to commence his fast lap. Comment in the chat, Barry Goat from Thin VD Velda. I'm guessing that's your name. Do apologise if I got that wrong. But Barry is certainly looking to be the GOAT of the league so far. 2 wins from 2 in his first 2 races here at PSGL PC. He certainly has not disappointed. Fastest Sector 1, of course. Purple in Sector 1. And making his way around the next left-hander. This, of course, being the seat. And very shortly making his way down towards Wirth Curve. Of course, there's 2 Wirth Curves. You've got the Wirth Curve and the Roche Bend at Austria. And you've got the Wirth Curve here in Spain as well. And both of them are just as treacherous as we're now seeing Barry Burman coming down around Campster Corner towards the Lakea Bend. And certainly the Alfa Romeo looking to pack a punch once again. Alfa Romeo certainly have a good foundation when it comes to sim racing. Jana Watmier, of course, who was with them last season, winning the Drivers' Championship in F1 Esports. Barry Burman looking like a huge prospect for them here in this league of PSGL here today. Making his way down through the final chicane. Coming around the final corner. Purple in Sector 1 and 2, of course. Let's see what he can land at first blood here in Q3. It's going to be a 1:13.391. Barry Burman not leaving any stone unturned. And he goes into P1 with a sensational lap. Dylan Warren closely behind in P2.
A lap from Barry Burman. That's incredible. 13.3. Half a second quicker than Dylan Warren. That's a huge marker thrown down immediately from the Iranian. And we'll wait and see who can respond. Now, the man who's currently on the lap at the moment is actually Louis Welch. He had a little bit of a wide moment through there in the second sectors. Let's see if he can get himself up the grid. Timon Schutter at 13.80 goes a little bit quicker than Dylan Warren, of course. Now, let's see what Louis Welch can do in response to his teammate. But my lord, that is a fast time for the first run for Barry Burman. And it's a 14.1 for Louis Welch. We know we can go quicker than that. But that is... you know, I'm actually nearly on the verge of a round of applause for Barry Burman. That's an unreal lap.
I mean, he's almost intent to break the hearts of all his competitors early on in Q3 here. He just knows when to pack the punch, doesn't he? I mean, certainly, a lot of what can happen in qualifying can be mind games, etc. But he certainly seems to have it in abundance, does Barry Burman. Josh Idawu, though, just going near enough 2/10 slower in P2. But just look at the McLarens at the moment. You've got Idawu P2, Shooter in P3. A good chance for McLaren to get some very, very good constructors' points here today. But Idawu is not someone to be messed with either, Jack. He's very quick as well.
Certainly is, but remember what happened to him in Hungary. He blew a tyre on the last lap, and that's the second time I've seen that for him, so let's hope he gets a bit of luck on his side today for the Welshman. But now, man on the lap that was chasing down Barry Burman last week in Hungary, Simon Weigang. Now, what can he do in response to that insane lap time from the Iranian? 20.8 in the first sector for Simon Weigang. It is a personal best, not the quickest, but it is in the ballpark at least for him. Now into the second sector, flings it up through the winding section, a little bit out of shape as he came through there, but not too bad. Now through Campsa, keeps it right on the curb on the right hand side, gets out of shape on the exit, has to open the DRS immediately to try and get it through. Now onto the brakes, into the braking zone for the left-hander. Got to get that turned in a short shift of the third. Personal best in the middle sector, so it may not be enough to trump Barry Burman, but it could be enough to trump Josh Idawu, who's battling hard with here. Now into the last sector, flings it onto the curb and runs it out wide into the very slow last chicane on the power as early as he possibly can, feathering the throttle, full power now, flat to the end for Simon Weigang. Can he put a response out to Barry Burman? It's going to be P3 13.7, not enough to get near Josh Idawu. Ran out of ERS on the run to the line there, but it just shows you how good that opening run was, and where on earth Barry Burman found that time. I'm at a loss.
Absolutely. Well, Weigang, nevertheless, still extremely potent in sim racing. But Barry Burman, where, like you say, Jack, where he found that pace from, indeed. And he's still out on track right now. And surely not looking to go quicker again, is he? Because I think he must have a fresh pair of tyres on. He's looking to wow the spectators once again, Jack. I get a feeling that we're on the brink of maybe another sensation here as Donoso goes into P3 and goes just over 3/10 slower than Barry Burman now. Looking further back, Prejnader into P5. We've still got Dormeyer out on a fast lap as well. Well, he hasn't yet set a lap, should I say. He's in the garage waiting to be unfurled. But as things stand, Barry Burman, who has gone quicker in, well, he's the quickest in the first two sectors. I don't think he's quite got it in Sector 3, but he's trying to go quicker again, Jack.
Well, let's see if he can, because this, how can you go quicker than this? But surely Barry Burman is the man to find it. It is invalid, yeah. I think he just ran wide a little bit there. He was down anyway in that first sector by 100th of a second, but he's still right on pace. So, yeah, unfortunate for Barry, but he hasn't validated that second run. But a man who's on trying, I think, to improve his time is Fabrizio Donoso. He's gone straight for a second run here. No, he's backed out of his one for that. So this is probably going to be the end of the first parts of Q3. But there's a lot of work to be done for the guys behind, as Barry Burman is the man on form and is on course to go keep his 100% record alive somehow after all of this. And we'll wait and see if he can do so, but some big names up in that top 5. I mean, Barry Burman, Josh Idlewood, Fabrizio Donoso, Simon Weigang, and Philip Prejnader, all involved in F1 esports, and you can see why. Absolutely. Just look at the trailer cars. They're making their way into the garage. Now, very shortly, we're going to have the straight shootout now, folks, and this is when we're going to start to see the really, really pacey lap time starting to filter through. Naturally, Dormeyer yet to field a lap time just yet, so he's going to be big and brave and try one at the death. To try and nail a time on the board. But he's got to make his next lap, Jack. It's going to be a crucial one for Dormeyer. A lot of pressure when you haven't set a lap time yet. Yeah, he's done very, very well to get into the top 10 as has Dormeyer. So he can be happy with where he is right now because his teammate Nicholas Matteo did not make it in. So Dormeyer has done an excellent, excellent job to get into Q3. No easy feat, but he's come out when everybody else has come in. So he's got some free track. And that's usually a good choice when you decide to come out when nobody else is around, because you're guaranteed not to get held up. Yeah, well, he's in the AlphaTauri replacing Kyle Mitchell here tonight, who unfortunately can't be with us. He missed it last week as well, did Kyle Mitchell. But Dormeyer is a very, very formidable force indeed. And now you can see the cars now making their way out onto the circuit. Philip Prejnader being one of them. The sole representative for Ferrari is Tom Martinez, finished outside of the top 10 going into Q3. But nonetheless, we'll look forward to seeing what Prejnader can do. Leading the prancing horses here in this final session of qualifying. And I've got to say, it's going to be a real stiff ask for anybody to go any better than what Barry Burman had set initially. But the track has warmed up slightly, Jack. We generally see that track evolution, as they say. And it does end up going quicker. And therefore, I would not put it past anyone of the likes of Barry Burman or Josh Idlewood, Donoso, even Prejnader, Weigang as well. All of them have the potential to go quicker. And I've got to say, another driver that's impressed me, Thyman Shooter, Jack. A very exciting prospect. Thyman's done an excellent job. It's his debut on PC in this championship. Of course, he's involved in the Challenger Series. So he's no slouch, but he's proving it now that he can mix it up with the very best in the business. So nice to have him on the grid as well, and great to see him in Q3, and doing a nice job for McLaren as well, getting them both into Q3. But Josh Idlewood, what does he do now? Because he's got a big benchmark to aim for, but he also knows that Barry Burman might actually go quicker again. So he's just building himself up now to a lap. But the man who's gone first across the line is Mr. Philip Prejnader of Slovakia. He has indeed, and he's just exited turn 2, heading around turn 3. The Renault curve now. We got the halo on board as well, so we can see where he's applying the throttle and where he's applying the brakes. You can now see very solid on the brakes. He's no messing about here, is Philip Prejnader. You get the drivers that obviously like to ease the throttle a lot.
Philip Prejnida is very active on the throttle, very trigger happy when it comes to applying the pedal work. You can now see him playing with the gears, making his way down through. A lot of quick shifting as well, making his way up. Gear 5 right up through now in gear 6, 7 as they round Campset. And throttle on full blast indeed. No relentless activity there, or relentless activity there from Philip Prejnida as he now enters the Kea bend, round through the next semi-chicane, rounding Bank Sambadel now. And heading around this corner before he meets the Europe car right-handers. You can now see him just clipping the curve there. Quite a lot of the curve, in fact, round the final chicane. Philip Prejnida, green in the first 2 sectors. You wouldn't put it past him to improve. The track has got quicker around turn 16. The New Holland corner across the line. P2 with a 113.55. Well, I think that was 0.14. Well, certainly just over a tenth of a second. But Weigang, Simon Weigang at the death. Incredible stuff. P1 goes quicker by a mere minimal and flies eyelash, separating Burman and Weigang. Incredible, Jack.
0.002 Simon Weigang on provisional pole, but Barry Burman is on a lap right now. Let's see if the Iranian can trump that. Well done, Simon Weigang. Into now the Campsa corner for Barry Burman into sector number 2. Is he up on his time? The answer is yes, and he's up by nearly a tenth of a second here. Barry Burman trying to keep it together in this last sector, and can he get a 13-2 out of this one as they come through the last sector? The Iranian is on a big charge here into the last chicane, and can he keep his 100% pole record alive onto the power? Here he comes round the last corner. DRS active now. Barry Burman, can he do it? The answer is yes. 13.182. That is an incredible lap time, and Barry Burman is on pole once again.
The Iranian has never failed to amaze, and once again he strikes blood here in Q3 at 113.183, 2 tenths quicker than Simon Weigang. The Alfa Romeo are partying in the garage. Barry Burman back again and letting fly here across the grid. He makes it, strikes gold here in Q3 with no time remaining. Relentless, Jack. Utterly relentless.
I'm speechless. I am speechless. Barry Burman, that round of applause from me. That is incredible. I was watching that. He gained it all in the last sector, George. The just coming out of Campsa, left-hander all the way up through there. He was so committed through that last chicane, gained all the time back. But wow, 13.182. That is dumb effort from him. Simon Weigang's P2. And how about, George, Thymen Schutte P4 on his debut?
Oh, amazing debut from Thymen Schutte, and a very huge prospect, beating Josh Idu, his teammate. Of course, proven is Josh Idu, of course, we've seen him before. But Thymen Schutte, a relentless driver on his day as well, and he's up there with the best of them. But Barry Burman, let's have a look at this leaderboard, folks. Barry Burman, P1 for Alfa Romeo, folks, at 113.182. Beat Simon Weigang by 2 tenths of a second in P2 there. You can see Simon Weigang for Haas. And of course, looking further down, Philip Prejnida, P3 for Ferrari. A great visit certainly for him. Thymen Schutte, what a debut here. P4 here in Q3. Josh Idu, the Welshman, in P5. Lucas UK, P6. Fabrizio Donoso, P7. Dylan Warren, the youngster, still up there. P8. Andy there in P9. That, of course, being Dormeyer. Julian Naumann in P10. So Dormeyer did manage to beat Julian Naumann there at the death. But Jack. What did we just see? Barry Burman at the death after Simon Weigang's incredible lap that popped him on that P1 spot. Burman at the death. He never fails, does he, to disappoint? Well, not disappoint, should I say. He never fails to amaze. We've just seen magic once again, haven't we?
It must be so demoralizing. So Simon Weigang put in a fantastic effort, and then Barry pulled another 2 tenths. I mean, how does he do that? And again, it's 3 pole positions in a row. 100% record is alive. He's lost, unfortunately. He actually, we'll probably talk about this when we chat to him later, I assume, that he's lost the 100% record for every qualifying session. Josh Idu taking Q1. But wow, that is something else. That was a pleasure to watch Barry Burman do that. And I hope the F1 esports teams are watching, because that is a hell of a performance. 2 tenths quicker than Simon Weigang is a hell of a gap.
I gotta be honest, Jack. How is he not racing in the Pro Series? How are we not seeing Barry Burman? I mean, seriously, that was relentless. Of course, you're looking at the drivers there on the circuit. Q3, phenomenal. Simon Weigang, it looked like he might have snitched it at the death, but Barry Burman just had that bottle, that conviction, and at the end managed to nail himself up into P1. He is a rocket of a talent. 2 wins from 2 already. Are we simply saying, should we just give him the Spanish GP now?
I think Simon Weigang might have something to say about that. He's going to be wanting this one. And now, of course, remember, every single driver in the top 10, apart from Julian Naumann, is going to be starting on the soft compound of tire. So they're going to be on a similar strategy here. But let's have a look and see if anybody else opted for the hard. Yes, everybody outside the top 10 has opted for the hard compound tire. So there's a clear split in strategy. Everyone in the top 10, all the way down to P9s on mediums, and everyone else is on hards. And one driver on the soft tire is Julian Naumann. But we know those soft tires do not last around here. They're basically like cheese on a grater around here. So he's going to be in within about 5 laps. But let's see what happens. For those of you, of course, Simon Weigang is the newest league racing YouTuber. So if you want to check out his channel, you can do that. And I think they're actually some of my favorite ones because he critiques his laps unbelievably hard and it's hilarious to watch.
Jack, I did actually drop him a message after his last one at Hungary for the Hungarian GP, and just some of the literal or some of the language he was using was it was a masterclass, honestly. I haven't quite seen anything quite like that, and it was absolutely tremendous. But no, amazing to see. And I've got to say, I'm going to look forward to seeing what Barry Burman can do here, because, of course, this, of course, again, race conditions, very different to qualifying. It's all about how you can apply yourself through this circuit. But Spain is the races circuit, so do expect some drama. Now, I want to say the all-important question, Jack, and I keep saying it because I want to know. Predictions, please. Lay it on me.
Barry Burman, pole to win. Simple as.
Oosh, get in there, they're saying. Of course, leave your predictions in the chat as well, folks. Get ready for the start of this race. I want to see what you think. The formation lap coming to an end here, folks. Very shortly, we will be underway for the Spanish GP. They now line up and get ready to go. You can see Burman on top spot and about to get us underway. There he is, riding on board with Barry Burman, sitting in front of the lights, waiting for them to go red and then green. The crowd's watching in anticipation here as we're about to get underway. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. They get away in tandem. Simon Weigang immediately cuts across and goes in behind Barry Burman. Philip Prejnader under a lot of stress here from Simon Shooter as they come into turn 1. The McLaren and the Ferrari doing battle around the first couple of corners. He's relentless, is that young man Simon Shooter. But Philip Prejnader hangs on. It all seems like a very orderly start. Dylan Warren in the mix as well. Josh Idawu trying to find his way through, but it's still Barry Burman on top spot. Simon Weigang trying to follow him behind. A Renault creeping through, and Fabrizio Donoso. But Jack, a sensation of a start. In comes the other Louis Welch, the other Alfa Romeo, creeping through up to P5. An amazing start to this Spanish Grand Prix.
Contact further down at Ruben Vallejo, missing front wing. Jorge Albarol as well, missing part of his front wing. But Louis Welch pulled off a hell of an overtake on Josh Idawu, nearly half on the grass as they came round turn 4. But he's into P5. Time and shoot that he really challenged Philip Prejnader immediately off the start, but not enough. Simon Weigang got a great getaway, but second phase of the start, Barry just pulled enough of a gap now, and he's already trying to break DRS 7/10 of a second clear as they come on to lap number 2. It's been very orderly from everybody today.
Yeah, it certainly has indeed. And there's Barry Burman. He is well and truly clear. Just look at him sending it down turn 1, of course, on the medium tyres. In behind Simon Weigang. Just look at the places gained and lost. You can now see Julian Naumann trickling down the field. I think there's been an issue, Jack. Julian Naumann dropping down to P17 and down to 18 now, in fact, as Ruben Vallejo overtakes him. But Barry Burman rocketing clear. Louis Welch really trying to land a blow here upon Josh Idawu, who just fell asleep there at the start. I think obviously his teammate got a better start than he did, certainly by a long shot, and just fell behind there slightly. And indeed, Louis Welch was there to pounce on him as they make their way down through the next left hand of the seat curve. But the McLaren's still relentless. Josh Idawu just posing a threat in behind that of the Alfa Romeo. So Louis Welch has got to watch himself here, as Arbeloa, I believe, is in the pits as well, Jack.
Yeah, damage for Jorge Alberola with contact with, I believe, Ruben Vallejo. So they didn't. The two Spaniards came together. Unfortunately, that's not what they wanted to do in their home race. Of course, we'll have DRS enabled on this next lap. But by the looks of things, I think Borman's actually broken it as they come through the last sector. We'll get the update as they come over the start finish now. But that is incredible opening pace. He knows what he needs to do, Barry Borman, and he's got to get away from Simon Weigang because that is a relentless opponent right behind you. Barry Borman, fast lap of the race, and yeah, there it is. Broken DRS, one just over a second between them, and now Simon Weigang is going to be leading that train of cars of Preschnader and Timon Schulte and Louis Welch, but Barry Borman is just about keeping himself out of DRS range, and this is exactly what he did last week.
It is indeed, and he's just looking to break in, just looking to go clear. And I got to say, they're finding it hard to keep a rope on him, really. You almost need to tie him down. It's almost like a game of British Bulldogs. Let's try and get close to Barry Burman and try and suffocate his chance of a lead here. But we are in lap 3 of 33, folks. DRS obviously applied now, and this is when we'll start to see more and more overtakes. Those brave enough to break the DRS train, and we'll soon see who is going to be the first to snap, as we're now seeing none other than that man, Josh Idawu, the Welshman, who's looking for a redemption here after being overtaken by Louis Welch on the first lap, and Louis Welch proving that he's still OP on pad like never before, and is then making his way through in P5 round in the Lakea Bend with Josh Idawu in hot pursuit. And I get a feeling that the Welshman is going to want to look to tag back soon, Jack.
He certainly is. He'll want to come back at his compatriot in front of him now as they head over. Getting lap number 4, this is kind of the first lap that we'll see the DRS down the main straight, and Barry has done enough to break it on Simon Weigang. Preschnader will have DRS on Simon Weigang in front. Timon Schulte as well, he'll have DRS, but now they begin. This is what we're going to kind of see for the next couple of laps of the classic DRS train. Nobody will go for an overtake unless they're absolutely sure they can make it, but it is going to be very hard to overtake when everybody's on the same tyre, on the same pace, and of course everyone's now going to be just saving that ERS as the Red Bulls get very close to each other. Ate Kaupinen and Channa Kinshi nearly coming together in that corner, but Ate Kaupinen is the man who comes out in front. They're on the hard tyres. They'll be going a long way into this race, but crucially, a good effort thus far from Nicholas Matteo. He's on the back of the top 10 train on the hard compound tyre.
Absolutely, and certainly it would do him the world of good to try and make his way through. Matteo, of course, hasn't yet had the start he might have wanted at PSGL. He's been roped into many latter field battles, and it hasn't really enabled him to creep up the field, but we know he's a talent, and he's giving Dormea a hard time right now, as we can now see them making their way down towards the Lakea Bend. The Williams currently making his way around the next left-hander. His teammate in hot pursuit, Nicholas Matteo, looking to do the damage, lay down just desserts upon Dormea as they make their way around the Bank Sambadel, round towards Europe car. And again, the battle will continue. Of course, Simon Weigang unable to close the gap on Burman. Remember, this is almost like a carbon copy of the latter stages of Hungary, where Simon Weigang was trying to close the gap on Burman, but just could not simply find the pace. And once again, we seem to be seeing this again here at Spain this time. Timon Schulte, you can now see also letting fly at Philip Preschnader. And these three are pretty much all strung up here. You got Louis Welch in the fray as well, but Simon Weigang looks to have a little bit of justice, a little bit of clear air in between him and Philip Preschnader, although I think Weigang might have made a slight mistake there before entering the Repsol curve, nearly landing himself in a little bit of hot water. So there's still a chance here for Philip Preschnader to maybe allow himself in against Simon Weigang. The pressure is all on Simon here, Jack.
Yeah, it really is. It is very similar to what we saw in Hungary. Where remember, Simon came so close to winning that he did a better job of managing the tires. So of course there was different conditions then. It was wet conditions last time. We have a full dry race today. Now I've just noticed Louis Welch has lost DRS on Timon Schulte, so he's now under big pressure from Josh Idawu, who'll be wanting to make that move as quickly as he can as they come through sector number 3. So Lewis is just trying to keep himself here. He might be able to just get it in the detection point in this next chicane. I think he might have just done it here as they come through the chicane, and it seems there is the detection point. So yes, Louis Welch has now come back into DRS of the train in front, and that will help keep him in the situation in front. But Philip Preschnader is bearing down on Simon Weigang.
Yeah, I got to say, Simon Weigang looking in a little bit of jeopardy. He made a slight mistake before certainly that last corner in Europe car and heading before the chicane. A little bit of a slip, lost a bit of shape on the car, and that allowed Philip Presnader back in with a chance to battle here. And naturally, it's cost Weigang a hell of a lot of time. Bormann now given a lot of breathing space as they round the seat. Maybe a little bit of a lockup, too much of a lockup for Philip Presnader. Did not hit the apex there on the medium tyre, but he's 0.6 of a second clear of Simon Shooter. That certainly isn't enough to consider it relentless, but the 3-second time penalty, Will Jack. Simon Shooter, 3 seconds, heading round what looked to be the Verth curve.
Yeah, it's that left-hander, that chicane up the hill, running wide there will just instantly give you a warning. Oh, he's now done that probably three times, and now has given himself a penalty. But Louis Welch is getting much closer to the back of him now as they head through the last sector, up and over the curbs either side. And it seems that Weigang's just about edging Philip Presnader, but he's used up a lot of ERS, as has Barry Bormann, just to get away from each other. So they're using a lot of ERS to keep up with each other. So when you're not in that slipstream train, it's much harder to keep yourself in front, because you're going to have to use a lot more energy to keep yourself in front. So you can see Simon Weigang 6% on the ERS, and Philip Presnader similar kind of level, 9 and 10%. Everyone behind. So the man with the most ERS actually at the moment is Josh Idaway and Fabrizio Lanosa, who nearly have half of their ERS left.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is exactly going to be a deciding factor when it comes to a lot of the overtakes. Naturally, you're going to discover, I think we'd imagine that Bormann is probably laying down his ERS factor right now, literally just trying to break the DRS, because he knows as soon as he breaks DRS, it's going to shut the door on Simon Weigang pretty much, and any chance that he has of tagging back against the Iranian, because Weigang is fighting two battles on two fronts. He has got Presnader in behind him, so naturally Weigang has got to be a little bit clever on his ERS usage. He doesn't want to use it up too much with the threat of pulling Philip Presnader along here, and because Presnader really, in the context of things, in comparison to Simon Weigang, doesn't have a lot to lose. He can still let loose here, utilize the DRS, get a pull through from Simon Weigang, and therefore get closer potentially to Barry Bormann if he tries his luck. So Weigang under a lot of stress right now, and you can see Presnader really closing the gap here, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely he is. He's getting much closer to the back of the German. There's Jorge Alberola at the back of the field with a 3-second penalty, but Timon Schulze, that penalty has nearly sort of given him a kick, and he's closing into Philip Presnader now as well. So it is making for some interesting viewing here, but there's absolutely no qualms about who's in the lead. It's Barry Bormann by 1.6 seconds, and everybody else is in the DRS train behind, so Barry is running his own race really at the moment.
He is indeed, and I'm just seeing as well Mattis van Erven, I think, getting close to Calvin Klein as well in P15 and 14. Those two are going to be battling very soon, as well as they round Campsa. I'm just going to be looking down further just to check out that battle, in fact, because you can now see them making their way around now. There's Calvin Klein, who inadvertently is also getting closer indeed to Ate Kauppinen, who's just ahead of him now. Kaupinen's got Chanakinchi, his teammate, ahead of him too. And they're in the Red Bull cars this weekend, but just look how close they are at this moment in time. And Dormeyer managing to fend off the advances of Julian Naumann, who's actually managed to separate the two Williamses there between Nicholas Matteo as he dives down the inside there. Matteo with a sensational manoeuvre heading into the Europe car bend on the outset now. And indeed, as we now see, Julian Naumann heading into the pit lane. No soft tyres must have got off already, Jack.
Yeah, they're absolutely dead. He's done 9 laps on them, so he's going to be pitting from the top 10. So he's going to be now swapping on to a set of the hard compound tyres. So watch out for him later on, because he's going to be on a... He's going to be obviously making up loads of positions earlier on, but he will have much older tyres later on in the race. So just watch out to see how that's going to unfold. But now the lead hard runner who started on the hards is Nicholas Matteo, and thankfully for him, his teammate Dormeyer is dragging him along on the medium tyres. They're kind of on their own at the moment, and Nicholas Matteo is getting a tow from his teammate and managing to save ERS at the same time.
Yeah, I think that move has definitely done Dormeyer a favour. He can now focus on what's going on in front. So inadvertently now, Matteo has got another battle on his hands. So he has done well to recover the deficit, obviously battling with Julian Naumann. But nevertheless, the two Williams cars in the points, which is great to see. Certainly or close to the points nonetheless. Dormea in P9, Matteo in P10. Dylan Warren ahead of them, but the gap is still significant at this moment in time. Warren doesn't have a lot to worry about in behind him. Dormea still has a little bit to find as they now round New Holland and begin to start their lap 10 of 33. Looking in behind as well, Prejneda just trying to gain back on Weigang. Doesn't seem to be finding too much with the DRS at the moment, and I'd imagine it's a very frustrating battle, but I'd imagine that very soon we'll start to see some crucial moves being made in the top 10, and the pit stop is going to be absolutely crucial. Josh Idawu, P6, 0.6 of a second back to Louis Welch, and as they round the next right-hander, that Welshman still looking and must be also getting frustrated with the sight of that Alpha's rear end. That rear wing must be looking absolutely venomous on him right now.
Yeah, certainly is, but Josh Idawu and Fabrizio Donoso are doing a really, really nice job of looking after the ERS at the moment. Fabrizio nearly 60% ERS charges, with Josh Idawu with nearly half in his battery, compared to Louis Welch, Simon. They all have under 30%, and Simon Weigang and Philip Prejneda have under 20% in that ERS. Barry Borman about 30. He's now just in conservation mode out front and saving the tires. I would imagine he's just doing some tire saving right now. He doesn't need to worry at this moment in time with anybody behind. Prejneda now, is he now going to lose DRS? And Simon Weigang has come over the detection point. I think he might just hang on to it, and he does do so by just under a second. So he's kind of losing time, actually, is Philip Prejneda. Simon Weigang just starting to maybe up it a little bit, but he's got no ERS in the tank at all for Simon Weigang. As it comes, there's Ruben Vallejo with a penalty further down the order. He's down in 17th place at the moment. But the top 8 are all still within touching distance of each other, and Dylan Warren is hanging in on the back of Fabrizio Donoso, so he's not letting him go.
No, he's not indeed, as they now make their way around the Repsol curve heading into the seat. And there you can see Philip Prejneda trying to close the gap on Simon Weigang. He's unsuccessful so far, but he's done a good job of keeping Josh Idawu at bay as well. This DRS trait has been maintained since the very start of this race, folks, but still a long, long way to go. And Barry Burman has actually managed to bring the deficit up to 2 seconds now, Jack. 2 seconds heading around Campsa Corner. So that's really impressive. Burman still laying down a heavy foundation here. And as they make their way up through the next semi-chicane, Simon Weigang has got a lot on his mind. Certainly that of being Prejneda. I think that's probably the most pinnacle of points there. And I think the pit stop strategy is going to be ever crucial.
Yeah, it certainly is who's going to be going on to those hard tires first. Do you want to go on to first and go for an undercut, or do you want to save it and push for an overcut and have the fresher tires afterwards? It's always when you got to weigh up in the end, of course, and we can't discount safety cars coming out and everything. So there's plenty to think about. Meanwhile, the Williams cars are still working together here. So Dormeyer is dragging along Nicholas Matteo. Nicholas Matteo has nearly got full battery in his Williams. He's only 2 seconds off the back of the lead battle. He's actually in a decent spot at the moment, Nicholas Matteo. If he can keep looking after the tires, keep looking after the ERS, and he is certainly, Dormeyer is certainly helping him out a bunch right now by allowing him to just stay in the draft, stay in the DRS, and look after his tires and ERS. And keeping him only 2 seconds off the back of that train will mean he will gain some positions later on, and he will be on a very fast tire at the end of the race.
He will. Naturally, it's going to be interesting to see whether that pays off for him. We're just looking at Fabrizio Donoso, who's in P7 right now. He's got Dylan Warren to be concerned about. Dylan Warren can actually relax a little bit here. He's got a hefty gap in between him and Dormeyer. And you can see that Williams is still quite far back, and indeed hasn't quite broken Europe car as quickly as what Dylan Warren would have, as they now round their way through the final chicane before the final corner. And I get the feeling here that maybe Dylan Warren might have a chance here, even though he seems to be a little bit lackluster. In fact, he's pitted, Jack. We've got our first pit stops in the top 10. Warren, Welch, Shooter and Weigang, crucially, in the pit lane, Jack.
Yeah, Weigang's going for an undercut. He's got to try something onto the hard compound tyres now for Simon Weigang and for Louis Welch and for Simon Schütze, who just about gets out in front of Louis Welch. Nearly a change of position in the pit stops there. Good work from the Alfa Romeo crew, but not quite able to jump the Dutchman there, and he has to sit behind. But Simon Weigang is out in clean air. This has got to be the push lap of his life, and what can he do now? As we look back with a battle just momentarily for P10, Tom 97 versus Matthias van Erven. Tom 97 really tried to go around the outside there, couldn't quite pay it off, but there's a big battle going on here. The two Red Bulls leading this train, the Chanakinchi Atse Ate Kaupinen, Calvin Klein, Matthias Van Erven, Tom 97, and Domenico Levecce, who all started on the hard compound tyre. But Simon Weigang, he'll be thankful he came out in that clean air. 4.5 seconds of clean air in front of him. Now, what does Barry Borman do? Does he respond immediately, or is he comfortable at the moment? Here we're going to watch. He's going to pit, George.
Yeah, we're just seeing now, Jack. What a move there by Tom Martinez. He really slung it around Lakea Bend and moved up into P10 ahead of Mattis van Erven. I'm sure that might be assessed later on, but an interesting move out of nowhere at the end of the day. And Tom Martinez is now in the top 10 after battling with Mattis van Erven. But you're absolutely spot on, Jack. Barry Burman now in the pit lane, and this is crucial because we'll have to see how this is affected for Simon Weigang, because this is going to be for the lead of the race.
Comes Borman. Where is Weigang? It's going to be very, very close, but no, Borman has got it done, and Weigang is nowhere to be seen. But look in the background, Josh Idawu and Timon Shooter and Louis Welch going to go side by side as they come through, but Josh Idawu just about jumps his teammate in the pit stops. Super, super close, but Josh Idawu moves in front by just a hair's width. It was a great effort from Timon Shooter. Now Louis Welch seizes an opportunity, trying to go around the outside of the Dutchman. He did this earlier on Josh Idawu. Can he do it on the second McLaren? Round the outside, yes he can. Space given by Timon Shooter, and down the inside Louis Welch. Shooter tries it around the outside, but shoves him off wide, and Louis Welch pulls off the same move on both McLarens in this race. Great move. Absolute
craziness on the exit of the pit lane, but Louis Welch, he laid down a foundation and hammered it home. He once again splits the McLarens. This time it is gonna be Simon Shooter down a place. Idawu pips the pair of them, heads up into P13. Incredible effort from the Welshman. That's experience right there at such a young age. He is now up to P13 ahead of Louis Welch and his teammate Simon Shooter, but I get a feeling the battle's only just begun, Jack. They're on the same strategy and they can let loose here.
Yes, they certainly can. Philip Preschnader pits from the lead. He's going to lose out, of course, to Borman and to Weigang. Is he going to lose out to Josh Idawu? Josh Idawu arriving at a very, very high rate of knots towards turn one, but Preschnader is just about going to hold on. Josh Idawu, who's going to have the overspeed coming through the first couple of corners, though. This is his opportunity to try and take a net P3 in this race. Now, round turn 4, it's not going to be quite enough, but now there's a huge fight on for the podium positions, and Louis Welch has dragged himself into this one as well with that earlier stop, and Donoso's in there as well. But a great effort from the Ferrari pit crew to get him out in front, but Josh Idawu with a great strategy manages to just about come out behind the Ferrari, and he was much further behind but just before the pit stops. But now your new leader is now the Spaniard Nicolas Mateo, who leads at home.
He is indeed. He is yet to pit, but he's in front. He's got Kaupinen in behind him as well. Chana Kinchi in P3. Calvin Klein as well in P4 with Martinez in P5. Domenico Levecce in P6. Mattis van Erven in P7. And of course, you got Ruben Vallejo in P8. Barry Burman in P9 at the moment. Though technically the race lead if you incorporate pit stops. Fastest lap now attained by Ate Kaupinen. Which is incredible, seeing as Simon Weigang just recently managed to achieve that feat only a lap or so ago. As we're now seeing coming across the line, Josh Idawu with the DRS trying to come up towards Philip Preschnader as they make their way up towards Elf Curve. No time for an overtake just yet, but he is still primed and ready in behind. The McLarens are looking absolutely sensational here, Jack. They're pulled right into the race, and you cannot write them off at this stage. Josh Idawu, the Flying Welshman, here again, battling with the best of them.
Certainly is, and Simon Weigang is desperately trying to get himself into the DRS engine because now Burman is closing up on the back of the train. He's got Ruben Vallejo in front of him, and he'll want to dispatch him as quickly as possible. Vallejo's not obliged to move over, of course, but he'll want to, of course, not try and impede Barry too much in this phase of the Grand Prix. But Weigang is just, he really needs to get himself in DRS range because he's got no ERS. Barry has got much more at his disposal, so it's going to take a monumental effort from the German to try and displace him. But we're going to have a few more laps now before we see the switch for Nicolas Mateo. He's done 15 laps on the hards, as has everybody else behind him, down towards P8. But now Burman and Weigang are already actually catching up to the back of them. But Weigang, he's ever closer to the DRS. But what's not going to help him now is actually Barry Burman has got DRS on Vallejo.
He has indeed, and that's going to allow Burman to at least break at least some sort of a gap in between him and Simon Weigang, who is now down in P10. but still letting fly here at the Iranian Barry Burman, sorry. Josh Idawu there in behind Philip Prejnader, looking to lay home at least a chance of potentially applying a score against the deficit as they now make their way around. You can now see Josh Idawu so close to the rear end of the Slovakian as they come around the next right-hander. I get the feeling, Jack, that Josh Idawu is primed for a potential move here. They come around the seat. Look how close that McLaren really is, and I get a feeling it's going to be all she wrote on the home straight, Jack.
We'll have to wait and see as Barry Burman catches up to Ruben Vallejo as they come through Kamsa, and he's not quite able to get through just yet, and Simon Weigang is just pushing as hard as he can because he knows this is probably one of his fewer opportunities to try and get in the DRS. But Burman is just doing enough at the moment to stay out of it, but it's uber close. It's just a tenth of a second, less than a tenth now. If Weigang gets into DRS, it'll help him out a huge amount, and he has got in there. This is a crucial moment in this race right now. Weigang has dragged himself into DRS range of Barry Burman. Now the fun begins.
It does. He's going to be dragged through with Barry Burman. We've got pit stops being made. Ate Kauppinen has come in, so has Mattis van Erven. Fastest lap for Simon Weigang yet again. He's on a charge, and here comes Barry Burman having a look down the inside of Ruben Vallejo. He is stuck behind Ruben Vallejo right now. The Spaniard doing well to keep it behind. Prejnader holds off the advances of Josh Idawu, but indeed Burman left frustrated by the racing point. It's allowing Weigang back into the race for P1. It's going to be a battle right to the finish. Only in lap 18 of 33. Plenty of excitement yet to come, folks.
Yeah, Burman is stuck now. He's stuck behind Ruben Vallejo, and this is just helping Simon Weigang get himself closer to the back of that Alfa Romeo. This is exactly what he wants to see. So Ruben Vallejo, he's not obliged to move over. He doesn't have to. This is for position, but it's out of sync. But Burman is catching him in all the wrong places, and this is a massive moment in this Grand Prix. Look at Simon Weigang now. He's closing up on the rear of the Alfa Romeo, but Burman will have DRS on Vallejo down the straight. But let's see what happens now. Can Weigang spring a surprise on the Iranian through the chicane they come? Can he get the run? Barry Burman has got the dispatch of him now as they come through the last corner. Surely he's going to have him down the straight now with DRS and overtake activated. He's got to try and get past the Spaniard, but the Spaniard is defending all his worth here down the straight. Here comes Barry Burman. He's got no ERS to use, though. He's going to go for the move. Yes, he's going to throw it down the inside of the Spaniard. It's going to be contact between them, and they run off the road, and Ruben Vallejo is still in front, but this is just helping out Weigang even more. But Burman is in front eventually. Now Weigang's going to try and get past as well, but Burman's in trouble here. But now Weigang is going to get stuck behind now, so it's probably going to cancel each other out in the end. But Vallejo throwing a spanner in the works later on in this race.
He is indeed. Now Weigang's got to get on a charge. He cannot allow Burman to escape the clutches of Ruben Vallejo, because that will inadvertently close the door on his chances for potential race victory here. The strategy worked for him for now, but he needs to make it happen here on the track as they come round Kamsa corner. Ruben Vallejo in jeopardy, though he does have DRS on Burman. Again frustrating the German Simon Weigang, who again has to see the rear end of that BWT Racing point coming through the next chicane. Round the next right-hander, very soon round Europe car. Simon Weigang left frustrated. He'll have to take his chance on the home straight, Jack. He hasn't got a choice here.
He's going to have to do it now, but Vallejo's going to have DRS, remember, on Barry Burman. So here comes now Simon Weigang. I think no defense put up by Vallejo this time as they head down towards turn one, and through goes the German, but that will have affected his chances. But look, Burman does not have DRS, and Weigang was going to drag himself in here into turn one, and Weigang is now just 6/10 behind Barry Burman. So now the fight is on. Burman now leads as Matteo pits. So 1, 2, and 3 at the moment is Burman, Weigang, and Vallejo. Prejnader is now in the net P3, but under pressure from Idawu, Lucas UK, Fabrizio Donoso, Timon Shooter, and Dylan Warren. But Matteo has come out in 10th place, and now he's on fresh mediums.
Yeah, and take a look at this now. Weigang still within a chance. He has got at least some sort of access to DRS now as they round this next left hand of the birth curve, heading into the Kamsa corner now. And you can see them rounding it full throttle around this very, very tricky bend. But as soon as they do, it's soon to be Lakea. You can see the DRS activation being applied here for Weigang. This is when he needs to really, really let loose here on Barry Burman. They come up through the next semi-chicane around Bank San Bedell. The view from the crowd as we see these almighty cars cars come round this sector 3 of the Spanish circuit, down through the next chicane, round New Holland very shortly. And you can see now, as we ride on board with Simon Weigang, he is still right in the midst here of Barry Burman. He has got very limited ERS, Jack. He's used it all, but the DRS is all he needs. He gets closer and closer to the rear end of Barry Burman. No room for an overtake just yet, but look how close he is. We're going to fight to the finish. At least 12 laps of magic here in Spain. Viva la España, Jack. They're red hot on his tail.
Remember, Simon Weigang is not a man you shake off easily, so he's going to have a big amount to deal with now, because when Simon Weigang gets in DRS, he does not let go of it. So this is going to be a fight to the end between Barry Burman and Simon Weigang, and if they keep fighting, it could drag Preschnader in, but Preschnader is just under severe pressure at the moment. Oh no, a penalty for Weigang, and that's going to throw a spanner in the works big time. He was pushing too hard in that sector. 3 seconds added on. Now it's back in Burman's court.
Yeah, it's just the case now that Burman can now just literally conserve his race. He can afford to just keep Simon behind him, no pressure, as long as he can just keep the time gap within 3 seconds. He has got this race in the bag. He can take great care. And again, we see a time penalty for Ruben Vallejo as well. But as you can now see, the battles are increasing. It's heating up here in Spain. Preschnader under threat from Idaru. Burman still has Weigang in his midst here, but Weigang still trying to let loose as they come down towards what will be turn 1. Weigang needs to get a shift on. Barry Burman still in P1 though as we speak through the Elf curve. He leads the way. We're here in lap 22 of 33. 10 laps remaining here, folks. This race is absolutely out of control. And once again, we're witnessing some incredible battle between Barry Burman and Simon Weigang. Welcome back, Hungary.
It's certainly welcome back, Hungary, but Simon will still want to take this on track regardless, so he'll still push on for this one as they head round the middle sector now. But now, if Simon can't afford to fight too much, because remember, the 3 second penalty, he's actually under now pressure from Philip Preschnader, who's 3.9 seconds behind, and the guys behind as well, so he can't afford to fight too much or drop any pace. He's got to keep up with Barry Burman, and he's got a good few more laps left to go, but in this one as well. We've got 10 laps to go across the line, but Barry Burman is not having it all his own way today, and he can't afford to get a penalty, because if he gets a penalty, then it's ball back in Simon Weigang's court. But Simon Weigang on a big push right now, but is it that penalty going to be the nail in the coffin? But watch this now, watch the slipstream effect as they head down the front straight. You'll see now DRS open for Simon Weigang, but he's not using overtake. He's going to stay behind, I think, as they head towards turn 1, but he's getting closer and closer and closer each lap, and I think we will see a move for that lead at some point, but I wonder, is Burman even going to fight it?
I'm not sure, but he looks like that Barry Burman just went a little bit wide there around that sector. You can see him immediately shutting the door as a look here from Simon Weigang as it begins to open up in front of him here. AI goes Barry Burman. AI from Barry Burman. Chance here for Simon Weigang here to take advantage of the technical problem that Barry Burman's having. Simon dives in on the inside and makes his move going into the birth curve. Traumatizing moment here for Barry Burman as Simon Weigang takes the lead in the Spanish Grand Prix. Sensational stuff here. Absolutely tremendous occasion as Barry Burman unbelievably goes AI and allows the door to be open for Simon Weigang. I cannot believe what we've just seen, Jack, but Burman, at the cost of a certainly exited his cockpit, is now sacrificed that P1 spot. Weigang can really take a charge here.
I think Preschnader could catch him as well as they come through. That is absolutely heartbreaking for Barry Burman. It's not all said and done. If he can regain control of that car, it's not over. 1.4 seconds now between Weigang and Burman. But look now, Philip Preschnader 1.9 behind as they come across the line. But Nicholas Mateo is on the back of this train on the mediums. And let's see if he can make up more positions. But let's see. I can't quite see if Burman's taken that car back again. I think he might have. But Weigang handed the race lead now, but he's got to make another 1.5 seconds over Burman. But is that possible now that the Iranian, I think, might be back in the car?
Well, it's very possible, Jack, if he breaks DRS. Needs to break DRS as soon as possible to allow the lap times to do it. There you see Nicholas Matteo all over the back of Dylan Warren. The pressure now on the youngster Nicholas Matteo as well, who's trying to let fly. He's put in fastest laps now on 2 consecutive laps as he makes his way through Birth Curb. Camps a corner next. There's the racing point in P8. Chance here now for Nicholas Matteo as they come down towards the Lakea bend. Is it going to be a late dive? It certainly is as he comes round the inside. And it's Nicholas Matteo with an incredible move on the inside of Lakea bend. Rounds back Sam Bedell, banks himself a P8. A great move by the Williams. And now he's all over Thyman Shooter, Jack. Incredible stuff.
Job now. I've just been looking at the race director and no warnings at all for Barry Borman, so he's got plenty of spare track extending if he wants to in the bag, but he is back in the car now and all he needs to do is now maintain that gap that he's got to Simon Weigang. He'll want to catch up, of course, but he does not need to, and he doesn't need to push too hard to track extend and get that penalty. So it is still ball firmly in Barry Borman's court, but he can't afford to have any more of those mistakes or disconnects or any technical issues any time further in this race, because a simple one in 2 corners lost him a second and a half, but he's now maintaining that gap.
Yeah, if anything, it's given Prejneda a chance now. Prejneda every chance of closing the door, certainly here on Barry Burraman, because he's getting closer and closer and starting to gain back some of the time. And crucially, it looks like the Burraman could be in trouble here, Jack. Calvin Clay now with a penalty as well. As we're now looking further back, Josh Idawu getting a toe here as well, trying to gain back on Philip Prejneda. Burraman looking to close back the Delta time. He knows that Weigang's got a penalty. It is not over for Barry Burraman just yet. He is still within the Delta time. It's not over by any means at all. Still Burraman could win this race. Philip Prejneda in P3. In behind him, Josh Idawu, who still requires the use of DRS. But look at his ERS, Jack. He's got lots of it as he comes down now towards turn 1. Is he going to get enough straight line speed? I don't think so. Philip Prejneda is still holding on to P3 for now, but the podium battle continues. Josh Idawu in P4, trying to get closer to the Slovakian.
I think Josh is going to leave it late to make that overtake. He doesn't want to be in front on that final lap because it can be quite dangerous to be in front as you come down that straight. But Nicholas Matteo is the man trying to make moves past Thyman Shooter here as they come through turn 4. He's not quite able to do so, but he's on the fresher medium compound tire. He's got to make them work now. Thyman's got a penalty. He's going to gain that position anyway. But there's a possible P3 on for Matteo if he's able to get through these guys quickly. Oh, Ruben Vallejo out.
Yeah, Ruben Vallejo out of the race, folks. He is out of this Spanish Grand Prix. Thyman Shooter now at the mercy of Nicholas Matteo. He likes Lakea Bend. Might yet get a chance here. No, does not. He chooses against it. He's going to wait as he makes his way up through the next chicane. Here he comes in the Williams. Nicholas Matteo ever convincing here on medium tyres as he makes his way down towards Europe car. The orange McLaren at the mercy now of the Williams. Traditions here at Williams have always led to believe them to be very, very quality constructors as they come around the final corner at New Holland. Here he comes now. It's Nicholas Matteo with the DRS open. Also Thyman Shooter. Thyman goes to defend on the inside as they come down towards the Elf curve. The Williams once again packing a punch. Up another place here. Up into P7. Nicholas Matteo, sensational racing. He's clawing his way through this field. Maybe a podium, Jack. We just don't know.
Could certainly be. That was the point I was making, is that if he keeps going the way he's going, he could be on for it as they come through sector number 1. But look at Barry Borman, George. He's now actually within DRS anyway of Simon Weigang, who he really wants to take this on track, even if the penalties come for Simon Weigang, and he will want to keep that 100% record of winning on track alive. And to go 3 in a row is something else. I think it will be, of course, something else to see that Barry Borman goes 3 in a row and pole to victory as well. But Simon Weigang, I mean, he's driving out of his skin at the moment. This is the best performance we've seen from him in a while.
It is. It's been absolutely sensational. It's been a different test for Barry Burraman. Simon Weigang, though, has risen to the occasion. He is still up there in P1 and on track, at least for the time being, despite the means that it was acquired. But they're making their way around New Holland. These two are exceptionally clear. And Josh Idawu could yet be drawn right back into this race as well. He'll have every chance of a podium here. There he is with the DRS in behind Philip Prejneda. Still Barry Burraman fighting to try and get that P1 spot. But there's Josh Idawu fighting with Prejneda. Time penalty applied, this time for Calvin Klein again. And 10 seconds, Jack, applied to Calvin Klein. That is race damaging for sure. He's down in P15 anyway. I take that as race over.
Yeah, he missed the last corner and slammed into the pit wall, so that'll do it. 10 seconds in that last corner, so that's really unfortunate for Calvin Klein, but he's not going to affect him anyway because he's all the way down to the back, so really unfortunate for him. But Barry Borman is getting closer again and again to Simon Weigang. Simon will fight his corner, so he'll want to take it on track. So we'll wait and see what happens. But Simon can't afford to fight too much because Philip Preschnader is only about 3.4 seconds off the back of them. So if he loses any time, that'll be the podium gone. For Simon Weigang, so he needs to be careful. But Nicholas Matteo through on Fabrizio Donoso, so Matteo's on a big charge here.
He is, absolutely. Those medium tyres really working for him. He's up 7 places, Jack. Started P13, and he's now in P6. An extraordinary drive from Nicholas Matteo, and he's now trying to let fly at Louis Welch now, and making use of those mediums for sure. He has gained an almighty 7 places. I say it once again, but the DRS is applied to Fabrizio Donoso, who is hot on his heels as they come down towards turn 1. Is he going to open the door against Nicholas Matteo? Not this time. The door is not open for the Chilean, and he's going to have to live life in P7 with Simon Shooter just behind him, Jack, and we know how quick he is.
He certainly is, and Dylan Warren's also in the fight there as well, so we'll see how he gets on. But gap up front comes down to 0.6 of a second up through sector number 2. Gap back to Preschnader is 3.7 seconds as they come over the split board. Calvin Klein, another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's not been a good day, and he retires the car from this one. So, shame for him, but Barry Borman is desperate to get this win on track. But Nicholas Matteo is now out of DRS on Louis Welch, so he needs this last sector to go perfectly. He needs to drag himself into that DRS range. Yeah, well, Louis Welch has actually managed to gain time on Josh Idowu as well. The gap between him and Louis Welch has come down mightily right now, and they're literally within, I would say, possibly 0.5 of a second. So Louis Welch brought straight into this battle with Philip Preschnader. The podium battle is on, but look at the tyre condition on Louis Welch's car. They are brutalised right now. And yes, Idowu making a move here indeed as he has a little look here on the outside, the inside, should I say. And Josh Idowu, a mighty charge, makes his way into P3. Sensational from the Welshman. Podium is now in prospect, but Philip Preschnader is still behind it. The battle is still remaining. 3 laps remaining, Jack. A war on 2 fronts. Who's got it in the bag? I do not know. No, I think that was all timed to perfection from Josh Idowu. He knew, obviously, in his head when he was going to make that move. He put it in overtake mode, and he saved up his ERS, used as much as he could to get past Preschnader. Now he's got to try and hold that position now for the last 3 laps across the line. So it's not going to be an easy task, but coming up now, Nicholas Matteo has got DRS on Louis Welch and is on for possibly a podium if he can maybe make it past, but it's going to be a tough ask to make it past these guys in front. We're going to have 3 laps to go across the line. It's Weigang versus Buraman for the win, but Weigang, of course, has the penalty to his name, so it may be much harder to hang on to that race win. But Barry Buraman is on a big push here. He's not using his overtake at the moment. He's happy to sit behind. He knows he doesn't need to go for the move. But Preschnader, is he going to come straight back at Josh Idowu? I don't think he is. No, yes, he is actually in the slipstream. Here comes Preschnader straight back at the Welshman. Outside line for the Slovakian. Josh Idowu defends the inside. Cut back line again for Preschnader, but he's not able to do it. And Josh Idowu is going to have to now deal with that for the next 2 laps because Preschnader is going to save up ERS and go for an attack. Yeah, very huge pressure now for Josh Idowu. He's got a different race on his hands now. Needs to keep the Slovakian driver, Philip Preschnader, at bay. And you can see the delta times. They are minimal, absolutely minimal. And while Idowu keeps defending, it's going to allow Louis Welch in, as well as Nicholas Matteo. And Donoso has also joined the party with Dylan Warren, as well as Simon Shooter. They're all coming into fray here now. The P3 battle is very much in hand as they round the Kamsa corner. Now you can see Josh Idowu in P3, in behind. You've got Philip Preschnader, the Slovakian driver, looking to upset the day for the Welshman. Josh Idowu definitely looked to take that corner a little bit better and has actually gained a little bit of time, Jack. And that might expel Preschnader's chances going down the straight, but he needs to make the most of DRS. We got literally just over 2 laps remaining. Absolutely incredible scenes. Yeah, I think if anyone's going to make a move, it could be Nicholas Mateo, because he's the man closest to the back of Louis Welch. But Louis Welch getting a good exit there. But now look at this, Idaho defending to the pit wall. But Preshner, you were right, he went too deep into that corner in the middle sector and lost 0.2 of a second, which could be crucial. But 2 laps left to run. It's still Weigang from Burman. Weigang will want desperately to win this on track, but he's got to fend off Burman behind. But the penalty is going to hurt him big time. But the battle for the podium is wide open. Nobody's got any penalties, so it's anybody's. But Nicholas Mateo in P6 at the moment, he is a massive threat with these 2 laps left to run. But is the podium on? I'm not too sure, but he could be on for a top 5.
He could well be. There you see Prejnator round in the birth curve. Very soon comes the corner again, and we've seen how crucial this corner is because it can really tee you up for the DRS straight. Immediately, Idaho goes on the defensive there. Will it be a late charge from Prejnator? It's going to have to be. It's going to have to be the next lap. He's got no choice. Needs to break Josh Idaho, at least on the home stretch. Needs to try and stick behind the Welshman as best he can. Idaho, a very different battle on his hands. A lock-up heading around Europe car as they head round the next chicane. A huge lock-up round the next chicane, and that allows Prejnator in slightly. Will he make the most of it? The final lap, red writing goes up. Burman on a charge as well as they make their way through. Here comes Barry Burman into 12th curve. He's going to make him over the inside and lock up, but Simon Weigang with the defensive maneuver. Incredible. Wheel to wheel. Prejnator the inside there of indeed Josh Idaho. I'm almost losing my voice. They come round the inside. Wheel to wheel action as they come down towards what will be the next right-hander. But still, wheel to wheel, Jack. Incredible stuff.
Idaho's got a penalty, so Philip Preshnator still neck and neck around the inside for the next corner. Preshnator up the inside, still neck and neck with Josh Idaho on the outside, still side by side through the hairpin. But Preshnator is in front. Idaho picks up a penalty, so he will not get that podium, and he's going to drop all the way back to P9 if he hangs on right now as they come down into the last sector. That he should be able to get that removed. So Josh Idaho will still push on hard here in this last sector. But what a fantastic Grand Prix. Mateo's looking on Louis Welch as they come through the middle sector, but he can't quite do it. But out front, it's once again going to be the Iranian Simon Weigang. Awesome performance round into the last corner. Simon Weigang is going to win this one on track, but it's 100% Barry Burman on top for the 3rd time in a row in PSGL. Philip Preshnator is going to get that podium 3rd, and it's going to be Louis Welch, Nicholas Mateo, Fabrizio Donoso, Dylan Warren, and Josh Idaho with the penalty down to PA. Timon Shuta and Chana Kinshi in that 10th spot. That was brilliant racing, but you got to feel for Simon Weigang. Great job, but it's 100% in favour of Barry Burman. It's 3 in a row.
What an occasion, Jack. An immense occasion. Driver of the day without question, Nicholas Mateo. I would have to agree with that amazing effort at the end. But it is going to be Barry Burman. 3 wins from 3. A sensational performance despite going AI at the crucial moment that would have seen Simon Weigang penalty not applied to win that race. But nonetheless, it's Barry Burman spraying the champagne today. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix. And what a mighty effort from Philip Prejnator, holding off the effects of Josh Idaho, who really scuppered at that penalty. We'll have to discover whether he got that removed or not. But Barry Burman, we're going to read out the results from what we've seen on track. Barry Burman P1, Simon Weigang P2. What an incredible battle between those two. Philip Prejnator P3, a great performance. Lucas UK, Louis Welch P4, Nicholas Mateo, driver of the day in my book without question. Fabrizio Donoso P6, Dylan Warren, a great drive P7, Josh Idaho P8 after his battle with Prejnator, handed him that penalty. Simon Shooter P9, Chana Kinchi in P10, Ate Kaupanen P11, Domenico Lavecce P12, Matthias Van Erven in P13, Tom Martinez P14, Calvin Klein in P15, Ruben Vallejo P16, and then we had DNS for Julian Naumann, Andreas Dormeyer, Jorge Arbeloa rounded them off in P19, Jack. But unbelievable racing. I cannot believe what we've just seen. They say that Spain is boring, but not here today, Jack.
Spain never disappoints on the F1 game with racing. We've seen it time and time again, but it is such a good track for the racing. And I know many drivers actually don't like it, but from our perspective, we love it. That was a phenomenal Grand Prix all the way through. The splitting of the strategies. Mateo trying something different, getting himself right into the mix, getting a top 5 from 13th on the grid. But Barry Borman, you just can't beat him, can you? Even going AI, Simon Weigang just couldn't get it done. But he'll take some comfort knowing that he did win on track, held off Barry Borman. But I'm sure Borman was hanging back in those last few laps there. But yeah, unbelievable. And it's 3 in a row for Barry Borman. The last person I saw in a grid this competitive going that long on a winning streak was a certain Jarno Watmir. So I wonder, we need to get Barry into F1 Esports, because Jarno Watmir versus Barry Borman versus Danny Moreno would be an incredible battle to watch.
Well, we haven't yet heard what the plans are for Barry Burman heading into the Pro Series season. Of course, still a huge window for potential opportunities for being signed to a team. So we'll have to sit tight. I'm sure it won't be long or too far around the corner before we see Burman getting signed up. I'd be very, very surprised, I have to say. But we're going to be joining certainly very shortly. I'm hoping we'll have interviews for this race, and I can't wait. I hope you all enjoyed it, folks. It has been absolutely incredible. If you enjoyed that race, please let us know in the chat. Who was your driver of the day as well? I want to hear what your driver of the day was in the live chat. Jack, who is your driver of the day?
Oh, it's a hard one. I would probably... It's a toss-up between Simon and Nicholas, but I'd probably give it to Nicholas, because he was brave. He went on the alternate strategy. He drove exceptionally well and very nearly got himself a podium. But yeah, Nicholas Matteo, I think, for me. So yeah.
An almighty performance from Nicholas Matteo, moving up from P13 and gained all those places. Around 7 places he earned. An incredible bit of work there from Nicholas Matteo, and deserves certainly the applause for driver of the day from me and Jack. So that's the commentator's driver of the day for you folks. I want to hear what your driver of the day was, though, so please hit the chat as well, and we'll be interested to see what your response is. But very soon we will be bringing you, hopefully, live interviews with the drivers from that race. An absolutely incredible battle. I can see that Barry Burman is in the waiting room. He's going to join the commentary box. I'm really pleased to bring him in after that titanic battle as well. We got Simon Weigang joining us as well. We're going to start with Barry Burman, though, the race winner after that time penalty from Simon Weigang. Barry, it looked like it was going to be a bit of a nerve-wracking situation after that little bit of a technical hitch. You managed to steal it at the end. An incredible performance.
Yeah, first of all, gonna say, just don't know what to say. Just my wheel just completely turned off while I was in the middle of the race. I completely lost my full speed back. I couldn't really speak now because it was really nervous. But yeah, I should. So Q1, I was really managed to do a really clean lap to really go through and save my tires. So I couldn't really keep the record. So it is now 8 out of 9, which is still really good. But
were you disappointed that were you disappointed that you lost out in that Q1 battle? Because it certainly looked like you had it, but then of course you had the spoke put in the wheel. Ironically, towards the end of that, I believe it was by Simon Weigang as well, wasn't it? That did that.
Josh Idawu, sorry.
My fault. Yeah. My fault. See, there you go. A commentator's memory, not here. A good one. Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you here, Jack. Good to have you here. But yeah, I got to say, you must have been gutted, Barry, because of course you could have gone. Certainly, you could have done the full Monty tonight, but you didn't manage to do it. 8 from 9, though. Very impressive.
Yeah, first should say, if we go into my Q3 lap, I think my Q3 lap was really nice. It was one of my good laps in the actual session, and even in the race. My pace was really good, but I should really say GG to Simon as well. But his pace was really good, and just I couldn't say he deserved to win as well, to be honest, because his pace was really good as well. But unfortunately, he got a penalty. And that wheel issue really just can't say about it. But it just first time it happened to me, and it should be in the middle of the race. Anyway, I haven't got any warning at all, so I will take that, and GG to Simon. Just great pace, to be honest.
Yeah, I got to say, the battle between you two was absolutely thrilling. And I think, although the disconnection or the AI moment that you had was a little bit tough for you, it certainly allowed us to have a very interesting battle towards the end as well. It brought you right back together. Of course, Simon managing to make the overtake. But I want to ask you a question now. Obviously, you've come 3 from 3 now. You got all 16 points in the first race at Austria, another set of points, top points at Hungary, and now you've come here to Spain and done exactly the same. What can we expect going forward for the rest of the season? Surely you're not looking to win every single race on the calendar, are you? Because I'm pretty sure Mr. Rotmere and Danny Moreno will have something to say about that as well.
I always love battling. I think everyone knows me, at least everyone who is really close to me, my close friends. Everyone knows me. I just love fighting, and I think Simon knows me as well, because I'm really good friend with Simon, and I have a big respect for him. So yeah, I'm looking forward, but for sure I'm gonna try to win every race. But I can say it is impossible, but it's gonna be a really tough one with this grid. But yeah, I can't really say I'm gonna win every race. But the thing I think I should say is I'm gonna try my best, even if I finish P3, P2, P1, or even any position, it will be still good. And yeah, looking forward to race with these guys.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to ask as well, last question. F1 Esports this year, you don't have to tell me which team. Are we going to be seeing Barry Burman? Are you in talks with the team for the new Pro Series?
I can't say which team, but I have signed a contract, so hopefully I will be, not hopefully, for sure I will be in this year F1 Esport, and I'm really looking forward. I'm really gutted to not race in the last season, which was really not ideal in my opinion. But yeah, I just moved on, and I'm looking forward to this season. Just trying to be as prepared as possible. Have a great feeling about my team, my new team. Just feeling like I'm where I should be. So really thanks to them as well, and hopefully it will announce soon.
Well, I got to say, that's all we needed to hear. So you've heard it here first, folks. PSGL exclusive. Barry Burman has signed a deal with an F1 Esports team for the new season. Congratulations, Barry, on another win, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who are watching, and to you and Jack.
No problem at all, Barry. Thank you ever so much, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you, and again, GG to Simon. Great race.
Great.
GG, bye.
Yeah.
GG, man.
Forever humble. I got to say, Barry Burman, and I can see that we have got Simon Weigang with us as well. Simon, a relentless battle, non-stop. It was brilliant to see, though. I think the disconnection allowed us to have a nice battle for P1. It was just a shame that you had that penalty. It was cruel in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was, but at the end, it's my fault, So yeah, I can't blame anyone but myself for corner cutting. So yeah.
Well, no, I tell you what, it was a good effort nonetheless, and I got to say, it was great to see you. Obviously going wheel to wheel with Barry as well at certain points of the race, and certainly getting past him, heading down the long straight into Elf Curve was absolutely scintillating.
Wait, what? I didn't do an overtake on him, I think.
You did, didn't you? After the AI, yeah. We won't talk about that.
I overtook the AI, mate. So.
Overtakes and overtake.
Overtakes
and overtake, Simon.
No, mate, no. I didn't overtake. I think, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't do a single session of practice for this, so it took me a while to get used to the race and stuff. So. Obviously, at the start, I was a lot slower than Barry, and I had to use every single drip of ERS to even be within 2 seconds. But after, I think 10 laps, I started to get used to it more, and and then I think the gap was already 1.8 or something, 1.6. So I undercut it, and then I tried to get it back, but I think the pace was quite similar. I think probably the same. So I couldn't get really close, and then obviously his wheel issues happened, which is really unfortunate. I thought it was going to be worse, but luckily it wasn't, to be honest. So by worse I mean he would have dropped I don't know, out of top 10 or something. But it was fine at the end. And and then Ruben Vallejo's car somehow just parked at the apex. He came out of the pits and parked it on the apex. I think it was his air or something. I lost half a second. So then he was back in the DRS. Barry, but as I said, I don't really see it as a gain, because he got back into my DRS because of Ruben, but lost the DRS because of his wheel. So I think it's fair. And at the end, I just lost it on penalties. And yeah. Also, I think I hope I don't get a penalty for the pit entry because I didn't even know there was a thing. So I don't know. So I didn't do the right pit entry. I was left side of the bollard.
No, well, it seemed that.
So I don't know if.
I think, like you say, going off what you were saying, I think justice almost served itself in the end, and yet we still got to see a good race between you and Barry as well. But I also want to touch on the fact that, like you said, you had no practice for this race, so you must be really happy with the performance, not only in the race but qualifying as well, because you had a lot of pace in qualifying. Really impressive. Probably one of the best qualifying performances we've seen from you this season.
I've only did one race, so.
Well, yeah, but still, again, so far from what you've done, still a good performance.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, but I was still too far away. I think 2:10s, even against Barry, who was really quick, it's way too much. So if I go slower than him, I probably should have been within 10th. So everything else is just, I think, lack of preparation. And I'll definitely look forward to. Prepare better, and then hopefully, have another good battle with Barry because it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, thank you very much, NPG.
No problem. I mean, I've got to say, I just want to touch on one last thing as well. Not only are you now an esports star as well, but you're also turning into a YouTube star. I mean, I've got to say, we very much enjoyed watching the Hungarian review. Just talk us through that. Are you looking forward to applying your trade now as a YouTuber as well as an esports driver?
We'll see what happens. I'm gonna keep uploading, and we'll see. I'll definitely do another highlights package for this race.
I need to watch that. I need to see it. I enjoyed Hungary a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so brutally honest. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I'm gonna do another one. So I hope it's gonna be as good as the last one.
Yeah. Well, make sure Well, I tell you what, make sure everyone here that's listening to this checks out that because it is absolutely brilliant. Check out the Hungary one as well. It was absolutely superb. Simon, congratulations on another great race, mate. P2, scintillating.
I just want to say, I think it's a bit of maybe a breath of fresh air, to be honest. I tried to do a little bit of a different one, than just a standard commentary. And
it's alternative, a little bit of humor as well, a little bit of straight-laced conversation, just what the people need, I think. Excellent stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Yep.
Next up on the list, another podium fetcher, the Ferrari driver, Philip Prejnader. Philip, how are you?
Hello, George. Pretty well. Not much to say, really.
Well, I don't know about that. You had an incredible battle in P3. I mean, come on, tell us about it, Philip. Tell us about it.
See, the thing is, with the podium, I'm happy but disappointed at the same time. Because I feel like I did not deserve that podium at all. Pace just simply was not there today. I just couldn't get into the rhythm in the race. I was doing mistake after mistake. So I think this was the maximum I could achieve. So it's a weird one, really. I'm happy but disappointed at the same moment. And obviously, as you mentioned already, the fight with Josh towards the end was really nice. Think I'll need to watch it back because I'm pretty sure he got a penalty in the final lap, so I don't know if I pushed him off somewhere or not, but it didn't feel bad at any point from my point of view, so hopefully it will be alright.
Well, it certainly looked from the spectator point of view that it was a straight battle between yourself and Josh. But I think obviously I can sort of understand your disappointment in a way because you were fighting essentially with Simon on track because it looked like Barry Burman had actually run away with the DRS. He was not in contention at that time to be in a battle with Simon early on in the race. So are you perhaps a little bit gutted that maybe you couldn't pull the time gap back on Simon and sort of get him when he was in a little bit of a threatening situation?
Yeah, obviously, as a racing driver, I want to be at the top all the time, but simply today just wasn't my day. I wasn't in my rhythm, and I didn't feel like I was putting the laps in that I should have been. I think there was on average, I would say one mistake each lap that I was doing, and it's completely down to me. So, yeah. And obviously the pit stop didn't help also. I went for 1 lap overcut on Bari and I think 2 laps on Simon, if I'm not mistaken, to just not get held, because there were plenty of cars behind me. But I think there was one of the Mercs that retired in the pits, and the second I was about to get released, the game released the retired Merc from the pits, and I got held for around half a second. So that was not ideal as well.
Do you think that was the major game changer? Despite the, I just wondered, is it that, or did you struggle to find the straight line speed on the car?
I think it's the other one. I don't think it would have changed much, the pit release, but yeah, simply pace wasn't there today. Couldn't get into the rhythm, so I think P3 was the maximum today I could have achieved.
Well, nonetheless, a titanic battle with yourself and Josh that we very much enjoyed. So I'd like to say congratulations on the P3 on track. Of course, we'll have to see what they decide about Josh Idawu's penalty. But nonetheless, a great battle, and it's exactly what the spectators love to see. So congratulations, Philip. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Well, Jack, once again, we were graced with some quality racing. And I got to say, I love this point of the show because obviously we get to review stuff that happened. And we witnessed grand majesty, didn't we, out there at Spain? Viva la España.
Yeah, never disappoints out here at Spain. Consistently one of the better tracks for racing, and I'm looking forward to the future of the next race in a few weeks' time, and we hope that you'll join us again, because I mean this championship is just relentlessly fast. Blink and you'll miss what's happening in front of you. So make sure you join us next time when we head off to some other location around the world on the F1 calendar. So looking forward to that.
Can you guess what the location is, Jack?
I was trying to frantically search for the calendar there while I was doing that.
Well, I've got it. I just wanted to make you guess.
Yeah. No, I don't think I can guess. Reveal.
We are going to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. Now, I tell you what, that is a good track to go to, isn't it? And we're going to be seeing some tenacious battles going through La Source up through, of course, Eau Rouge. And then you've got the huge long straight leading up towards that series of chicane corners leading out of Sector 1 into Sector 2. And that, of course, can set the tone for a great race. So I can imagine that Barry's position at the top end might be yet put under threat if someone can whittle some points down at Spa. And many question marks still upon this championship. We've got many races left to go, folks. 3 races in. We have got a mighty 10 races remaining on the calendar. Plenty of opportunities for someone to add a spoke in the wheel. But Barry Burman, once again, providing the action. And Jack, I think we enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah, we certainly did. It was really enjoyable. Just from my end, I just want to apologize to everyone at home for the lack of the task system tonight. That is totally on me. Let me say, I've not had a good day technically. So, TAS was inactive this week, but it will be back up and running when we're back next week. So apologies from my end on that.
Well, it's not a problem. I mean, the wonders of technology, Jack. The wonders of technology. Of course, we do witness it from time to time as we make our way on the broadcast. As we do the broadcasting for these races. But nonetheless, it was brilliant. And I got to say, another clinic here at PSGL. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already to the PSGL YouTube channel to stay up to date with all the racing that we have here on this calendar for the PC Championship. We've got Xbox running now. Be sure to head over there and give them a little bit of support. Tell them that Gio and Jack sent you. And you can watch the coverage there as well. But from me and Jack, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you at Spa next time. Goodbye.